Mo Xiaoting and Yun Chujiu arrived at the living room. Not long after, second elder Zhao walked in with a young man. The young man's eyes were green. It was obvious that he was a lecher. As soon as he walked in, his gaze fell on Yun Chujiu and he revealed a lustful look. Master Mo, this is my nephew, Zhao Lizzie. He is here to marry Fangchao back to the Zhao family. We have brought the betrothal gifts. Now, let Fangchao follow us. Second elder Zhao said arrogantly, he did not even sit down. Mo Xiaoting sneered, second elder Zhao, aren't you talking to yourself? I already told you last time that we are unworthy of you. Fangchao will not marry the Zhao family. Master Mo, I originally wanted to discuss this. But, since you've put it this way, I have no choice but to speak the truth. To tell you the truth, our Zhao family is definitely going to marry Mo Fangchao. Married? On what basis? On what basis? Clan leader Mo, do you think that with that 7-star lucky card business, your Mo clan will not be restricted by our Zhao clan? HMPH, you're too naive. In the cultivation world, strength reigns supreme. As long as we destroy your Mo clan, the 7-star lucky card business will belong to our Zhao clan. Second elder Zhao's eyes flashed with greed. He originally thought that the black fragrant grass only had one use, but it turned out to be a money tree. Since that was the case, he had no choice but to take it back. Destroy the Mo family? How arrogant. Aren't you afraid of revenge from the Mo family? Mo Xiaoting sneered. Mo Xiaoting, this tactic of yours is good for scaring people, but it's useless for scaring the Zhao family. To be honest, the Zhao family has a strong backer on the eastern continent. Besides, the Mo family has been in trouble recently. How can we care about your distant relatives? Second elder Zhao noticed Mo Xiaoting's expression change, he continued proudly, so, don't even think about the Mo family. Besides, we have already made a deal with the Luo family. Our people and the Luo family will easily destroy the Mo family. Mo Xiaoting, I advise you to be sensible. As long as you hand over the Mo Fangchao to us, the Mo family will not only be safe, but you will also have the support of the Zhao family. You can choose where you want to go. Mo Xiaoting's forehead began to sweat profusely. He was no longer confident. His trump card was the Mo family. If he couldn't count on the Mo family, then the Mo family's guards alone would not be able to compete with the Zhao family. Not to mention, the Luo family had also added insult to injury. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed. What she was afraid of came true. If she did not think of a way as soon as possible, the old fox would definitely abandon her. After all, nothing was more important than her life. Grandfather, since things have come to this, it seems that I have no choice but to marry. Second elder Zhao, this marriage is after all a lifelong event. I can't just leave with you guys in such a hurry. You have to give me a few days to prepare the dowry, right? If this little request can't satisfy me, then there's no point for me to live, Yun Chujiu said faintly. Second elder Zhao rolled his eyes. Alright, then I'll give you 3 days to prepare. If you want to cause any trouble, HMPH, then let the entire Mo family be buried with you. Make up your mind, let's go. Zhao Lizzie smiled at Yun Chujiu in a lewd manner. Young lady Fangchao, in 3 days, your husband will come to marry you. Be good and wait. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujiu said calmly, okay, see you in 3 days. Hearing Yun Chujiu's words, Zhao Lizzie was overjoyed. He had come to the right place this time. He had originally thought that he would be marrying an ugly woman, but who would have thought it would be such a beautiful woman? This was great. After Elder Zhao and Zhao Lizzie left, Mo Xiaoting slumped into his chair. A moment later, Mo Xiaoting let out a long sigh, Fangchao, it's not that grandfather went back on his word, nor is it that grandfather doesn't love you. I really had no choice. Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. The position gained through benefits was indeed not stable. How could she be abandoned so easily? However, I, Yun Chujio, have never been manipulated by anyone. Do you want to marry me? I want the Zhao family to disappear completely. Grandfather, I understand everything you've said. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said what I just said. But, will the Mo family really stand by and do nothing? Why don't you try contacting them? Mo shouting was shocked. Yes, this was just the Zhao family's side of the story. Perhaps, they were lying. Mo shouting took out a voice transmission talisman and his hands trembled slightly. He had not used this talisman for many years because he knew that the Mo family did not look up to them, so, he knew not to disturb them. Uncle Wu, I am Xiao Ting from the Guangshuan branch of the Western Continent. We are being threatened by the Zhao family. I wonder if we can lend a hand. Don't worry, after this is done, we will definitely repay you handsomely, Mo Shouting said humbly. In fact, he sounded like he was pleading. Mo Shouting thought it would take a while for the talisman to respond. But, to his surprise, it quickly began to tremble. Mo Shouting couldn't help but feel a sense of joy. It seemed that second elder Zhao was simply spouting nonsense. His family was definitely safe and sound. Mo Xiaoting's body trembled as he sent his spiritual sense into the sound-transmitting talisman. An old man's voice came from within. The old man's tone was impatient. If you don't have the ability, then don't provoke trouble. My family has a lot of things to deal with. I don't have the time to deal with your small matters. Resolve it on your own. At this moment, Mo Shouting felt a mixture of shock, disappointment, and anger. He had originally thought that the family would be his lifeline, but they were actually so cold-blooded. He never expected this. Although Yun Chujio did not know what was said in the voice transmission talisman, she could tell from Mo Xiaoting's expression that it wasn't good news. Mo Shouting took a deep breath and said dejectedly, Feng Chao, I can't count on my family anymore. You should just get married. Grandfather, as long as you say the word, I can get married without any complaints. But, are you willing to do this? Let's not talk about the Zhao family first, let's talk about the ambitious Luo family. Do you think the Luo family will stop from now on? They have obviously reached an agreement with the Zhao family. Without me as a bargaining chip, do you think the Zhao family will help the Mo family? Grandfather, it won't be long before the Luo family uses the Zhao family's influence to destroy the Mo family. So, the moment my father brought me back from the Tianyuan continent, it was destined to be a dead end. The Luo family is the mastermind behind this dead end, Yun Chujio said calmly. Mo Xiaoting's body was covered in cold sweat. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that Yun Chujio's words made sense. This was a dead end. By marrying Yun Chujio, they would only be able to stall for a little longer. In the end, the Mo family would definitely be swallowed by the Luo family. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio stood to the side and watched coldly without saying a word. She was betting on Mo Xiaoting's unwillingness and Mo Xiaoting's recognition of her abilities. She was also betting on everything she had done during this period of time. After a long while, Mo Shouting suddenly raised his head. Feng Chao, do you have a way to break this deadlock? Grandfather, if I say I have a 50% chance, do you dare to bet? Yun Chujio's lips curved upwards as she asked slowly. Mo Xiaoting's hands trembled slightly. It was obvious that he was conflicted. Should he bet or not? If he did, he might be able to resolve the crisis and expand the Mo family's influence. Of course, he could also speed up the destruction of the Mo family. But, if he didn't make a bet, he might be able to survive for a few more years, but in the end, he would not be able to escape the fate of having his entire family wiped out. Yun Chujiu knew that Mo Xiaoting would definitely make a bet. He was ambitious, but he wasn't willing to give up. Otherwise, he wouldn't have wanted to return to the East Continent and become a wealthy man in peace. As expected, Mo Xiaoting gritted his teeth and said, "I'll make a bet. Fang Chao, I hope you won't disappoint grandfather this time." "Grandfather, don't worry. Although it's only a 50% chance, your determination has turned it into 70%, Yun Chujiu smiled and said in a relaxed tone. "Fang Chao, what are you going to do?" Mo Xiaoting was originally worried, but after hearing Yun Chujiu's smile, he felt a little more relaxed. "Grandfather, tell me more about the Zhao and Luo families. The more detailed the better." "Okay." Mo Xiaoting immediately told Yun Chujiu everything he knew. Yun Chujiu blinked. "Grandfather, the first thing you need to do is send someone to bring my father, second aunt and the others to Fengli City. Are you planning to send Luo Shi back to the Luo family to plead for mercy? Or are you planning to use Luo Shi as a hostage to threaten the Luo family?" Mo Xiaoting asked in confusion. "Grandfather, I'm getting married. Isn't it normal for father and second aunt to come over?" Yun Chujiu said with a faint smile. Mo Xiaoting glared at her. "Tell the truth. Grandfather, call them back. Firstly, it's to prevent the Zhao or Luo family from holding them hostage. Secondly, it's also a good opportunity for my father to see the true face of the Luo family. Hasn't he always thought that the Luo family is a good family?" Yun Chujiu sneered in her heart. If she didn't call them back, how could she let Luo Shi receive their retribution? Mo Xiaoting immediately sent someone to fetch Mo Cheng and his family back. Mo Cheng also brought over the 2 new concubines. Mo Xiaoting summoned his 3 sons to the study room and briefly told them about the Zhao family. Mo Cheng immediately said, "Father, I told you at the beginning that you should marry this rebellious daughter. Now that the Zhao family has forced their way in, you should just marry this rebellious daughter." Although Mo Pang and Mo Chang did not show it on the surface, they were secretly happy inside. Once Mo Fangchao was married off, wouldn't the 7-colored lucky card be theirs? This was great. Do you think marrying Fangchao would be a good thing? To tell you the truth, the Mo family is facing a disaster. Mo Xiaoting was extremely disappointed. Each of his 3 sons was dumber than the last. They only saw the benefits in front of them and could not see the true nature of the situation. "Dad, are you kidding me? Once we get married and the Zhao family sells the talisman to us at a low price, our Mo family's business will be booming. How could we possibly be wiped out?" Mo Cheng said as he curled his lips. Mo Xiaoting was so angry that his head hurt. "Good thing. The moment you were persuaded by Luo Shi to bring back the fragrant grass, our Mo family was in a dead end. And the one who wanted to destroy our Mo family was your good father-in-law." Mo Cheng twisted his neck and said unhappily, "Father. What are you talking about? It's true that my father-in-law has stolen our business a few times, but he wouldn't go so far as to say that he wanted to destroy our Mo family." Could it be that the rebellious daughter said these words again? She is simply spouting nonsense. Mo Xiaoting wanted to strangle this idiot to death. No wonder Fang Chao said that she wanted him to see the Luo family's true colors with his own eyes. This idiot would only turn around if he saw it with his own eyes. He was simply too stupid. Mo Pang and Mo Chang's minds were a little more flexible. They felt the meaning behind Mo Xiaoting's words as cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. They knew that Mo Xiaoting wasn't trying to scare them. Even if the Luo family did not wipe out the entire Mo family, the Mo family's business would still be swallowed by the Luo family. At that time, the Mo family would be completely destroyed. "Second brother. It's all your fault. You idiot. Second brother, it doesn't matter if you want to die. Don't bring us along. No matter what you do now, it's a dead end." Mo Pang and Mo Chang gritted their teeth. Their good days had been ruined by this idiot. If it wasn't for Mo shouting, the two of them would have beaten Mo Cheng half to death. Mo Cheng was so angry that his face turned red. Have you all been brainwashed by that rebellious daughter? How could my father-in-law do something like that? He has to worry about Xiaoyun and the two children. Humph. When the time comes, second sister-in-law can bring the two children back to the Luo family. You can also help your good father-in-law. Second brother, did you plan all of this in advance? Mo Chang said mockingly. You're talking nonsense. I don't believe that the Luo family planned all this. I'm taking Xiaoyun to the Luo family right now to find out what's going on. Mo Cheng said as he prepared to leave. Mo shouting slapped Mo Cheng across the face. You idiot. What are you going to ask? Are you going to ask Luo Pingsheng if he's going to destroy the Mo family? Which idiot do you think will tell the truth? Mo Cheng clutched his cheek and yelled, Dad. What right do you have to hit me? If you don't want me to ask, do you think you can tell the Luo family is trying to harm the Mo family with just your word? I don't believe it. Mo Ziyading's head was buzzing with anger. Get out. Get out. Hearing Mo Ziyading's words, Mo Cheng immediately stormed out of the room. Mo shouting sat down on his chair dejectedly. He was so angry that he was gasping for air. It was obvious that he was angry. Mo Peng and Mo Chang looked at each other and Mo Peng said, Father, please calm down. Second brother will slowly figure it out. After a while, Mo shouting finally said, Tell me, how should we break this deadlock? Father, why don't we marry the herb first? No matter what, it will buy us some time. After that, we can sell our shop and property and find a new place to stay. Mo Peng thought, after all, he had plenty of spirit stones in his hands. Even if he could no longer do business, it would still be enough for several generations to squander. Third brother, what do you think? Mo shouting asked as he looked at Mo Chang. Father, I agree with big brother. We can't beat the Zhao and Luo families anyway, so why should we fight them head-on? If we stay alive, we might have a chance to make a comeback in the future. Mo Chang thought. It seemed that he had to think of a way to get more after returning home. Otherwise, it might not be possible. Mo shouting was extremely disappointed. His three sons were all idiots with no ambition, and his grandchildren were all mediocre. Mo Fanghua was the only one with the best training potential, but unfortunately, it was still from Luo Shi. Fan Chao wasn't bad, but he was afraid that once the incident was revealed, it would be even more difficult to resolve. Mo shouting instantly looked as if he had aged 10 years, he let out a long sigh. Take care of your family members. Don't go out unless there's something important. Also, do what you should do with your business. If I find out that you've done something, don't blame me for being merciless as your father. Mo Peng and Mo Chang saw Mo Ziyading's cold expression and couldn't help but shiver. The little tricks in their hearts disappeared as they obediently agreed. On the other side, Mo Cheng covered his face as he angrily walked back. Although he still did not believe that the Luo family would harm the Mo family, he was still a little suspicious. So, he went straight to Luo Shi's house. Bitch! Tell me, do you think the Luo family has no good intentions to harm the Mo family? Mo Cheng looked at Luo Shi and immediately slapped her across the face. Luo Shi's face immediately swelled up as her mind went blank. Darling, you hit me? Humph. I hit you, you slut. If not for you urging me to bring that rebellious daughter back, how could there be so many terrible things happening? Now that the Zhao family has joined forces with your Luo family, our Mo family will be devoured by your Luo family sooner or later. You traitor slut. Mo Cheng had been displeased with Luo Shi for the past few days. Now, he had vented his anger from the beating on her. Luo Shi more or less knew of Luo Pingsheng's plans. Luo Pingxing had also promised her that even if the Mo family was destroyed, he would give her and Mo Cheng a substantial portion of the family's assets. She was already unhappy with Mo Xiaoting and old Madame Lu, she couldn't wait for the Mo family to be destroyed. In the past, Luo Shi would have covered her tracks and coaxed Mo Cheng with good words. However, she had been extremely disappointed in Mo Cheng these past few days. Now that she had been slapped in the face, she couldn't hold back the jealousy in her heart. Mo Cheng, since you've put it this way, I'll tell you the truth. The Luo family is no longer the same as before. Sooner or later, the Mo family will fall. If you treat me well, we will still be a loving couple. Regardless of whether the Mo family is around or not, our days will not be bad. However, if you still dote on those two bitches, then we will part ways. Mo Cheng did not react for a long time. Although he was unhappy with Luo Shi taking care of the two concubines, he still believed in his heart that Luo Shi would not do anything to let him and the Mo family down. He never expected her to say such a thing. After saying that, Luo Shi also regretted it. However, it was naturally impossible to take back what she had said. Furthermore, she felt that the Luo family would destroy the Mo family sooner or later, so Mo Cheng did not dare to do anything to her. You slut! I'm going to kill you. Mo Cheng's eyes were bloodshot. He hated the ruthlessness of the Luo family, but he was also afraid of the impending annihilation of his family. Mo Cheng, if you dare to lay a finger on me again, don't even think about living. Luo Shi thought to herself that since they had already fallen out, there was no need to endure it. Mo Cheng's hand was still lowered. He was afraid of the Luo clan's revenge, and he was afraid of death. Without any hesitation, he made his choice. As long as he coaxed the Luo clan, he could still lead a carefree life. Furthermore, the Luo clan's influence would only grow. Perhaps, Mo Cheng, would be even more glorious than he was now. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Xiaoyun, you were right to scold me. I have been too muddle-headed these past few days. Hongxia and Hongyun, you can find someone to sell them. We can live a good life from now on. As Mo Cheng spoke, he took out an ointment that reduced the swelling and gently applied it on Luo Shi's face. Husband, what I said earlier was a little overboard. Don't take it to heart. Our child is already so old, so I will naturally be thinking of you wholeheartedly. Besides, our Luo family and the Mo family are in-laws. How could we really destroy the Mo family? Luo Shi felt pleased. Her father was right. Only when her family gained power would she be able to make decisions in other families. In the future, once the Mo family declined, he would not dare to act recklessly. After the two applied ointment on each other's swelling, Luo Shi probed, "Darling, what is father's plan? Will Feng Chao marry into the Zhao family or not?" Father did not say. However, she will most likely marry into the Zhao family. If I can't count on her, would she dare to go against the Zhao family? Although Mo Cheng was still unhappy with Luo Shi, he did not dare to express it. Luo Shi rolled her eyes and said, "Darling, once Feng Chao marries out, no one will be able to manage the 7-star lucky card business. Feng Chao belongs to our second branch, so it's only natural that you take over. Run to father's side more often. Don't let those two branches take away the fat meat." Xiaoyun, what you said makes sense. I will pay attention to it. From what I understand, the 7-star lucky card should belong to our second branch. Darling, for the 7-star lucky card, you can just go along with what father-in-law says from now on. I will pretend to be angry and go back to the Luo family. On one hand, I will make father-in-law feel more satisfied with you. On the other hand, I will also go back to the Luo family to investigate the situation. Mo Cheng naturally agreed without hesitation. As such, Luo Shi returned to the Luo family with a sorrowful expression. Hearing the conversation between Xiao He and Mo Cheng, Yun Chujiu could not help but sneer. Mo Cheng was indeed a soft-hearted person. How could he be intimidated by Luo Shi so easily? Second elder Zhao and Zhao Lizzie were currently attending a banquet at the Luo family home. Luo Pingsheng and his two sons were treated to good food and drinks. Everyone was chatting and laughing merrily. Luo Pingsheng was extremely pleased with himself. He had planned this move for several years, and now he was finally going to achieve his wish. How satisfying! Mo Xiaoting, that old fogey, always had a high and mighty look on his face. He really wanted to see the way he would wag his tail and beg for mercy when he fell into the dust. Luo Yan was a woman's wife, so she naturally would not attend a banquet like this. She was currently chatting with Luo Shi. "Auntie, that Mo Fangchao is so lucky. That bitch has caused me so much suffering. I originally planned to find an opportunity to tie her up and sell her to the Cauldron Hall. Letting her marry into the Zhao family just like that is too good for her. Silly lass, do you think the Zhao family is a good place to go? Mo Fangchao will definitely suffer unspeakably in the days to come. To dare offend our Luo family's young lady is simply courting death. Auntie, although that's what you said, I'm still unwilling to see the tragic state of Mo Fangchao with my own eyes. Tell me, if the Zhao family finds out that Mo Fangchao isn't intact, will they torture her even more?" said Luo Yan viciously. Luo Shi was alarmed. "Yan quickly give up on this idea. The Zhao family isn't someone our Luo family can afford to offend." Luo Yan pouted her lips and said indignantly, "All right then. However, back then, Mo Fangqin also beat me up. In that case, I'll kidnap her and sell her to the Cauldron Hall. Don't tell me you can't bear to part with her. She's just a daughter-in-law. You can do whatever you want with her. I'll find an opportunity to help you get her out of the Mo residence. After that, you can do whatever you want with her." Since she had dealt with the daughter-in-law and fawned over the Luo family, why not? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. At this time, Yun Chujia's sinister laughter could be heard from inside Mo Xiaoting's study room. He Shi, who was in charge of keeping watch outside, was so frightened that he trembled. Although he had not been with Yun Chujiu for too long, he knew that every time his little ancestor laughed like this, someone would be in deep trouble. Inside the room, Mo Xiaoting's expression froze. Could it be that Fang Chao was going crazy from the shock? Why was she giggling the moment she entered? "Fang Chao, are you all right?" "Grandfather, I'm fine. I've thought of a good idea." Yun Chujiu smiled sinisterly as she activated her Black Lotus. "Good idea? What good idea?" Mo Xiaoting was depressed. Hearing Yun Chujiu's words, he finally regained some of his energy. To sow discord between the Zhao and Luo families, Yun Chujiu said slowly with a smile. Mo Xiaoting's eyes lit up and he sighed, "Fang Chao, this is a good idea, but the Zhao and Luo families are on good terms. How are we going to sow discord?" "Grandfather, if second elder Zhao is the only one here, it won't be easy to deal with him. However, Zhao Lizzie was a lecherous man. If he and Luo Yan were to get together, what would Luo Ping do? Would he let Luo Yan marry Zhao Lizzie or kill him?" "Great! Fang Chao, this is a great move." Mo Xiaoting's expression brightened. As long as this was done, the Zhao and Luo families would definitely have a grudge against each other. At that time, the Mo family would have a chance to take advantage of this. "Grandfather, this is only the first step of a series of schemes. The second step is even more crucial." "A series of schemes? What is the second step?" "Kill Zhao Lizzie and frame Luo Yan." Yun Chujia's face was full of smiles, but the words she said were filled with flashes of knives and swords. What? Kill Zhao Lizzie? Mo Xiaoting jumped to his feet in shock. Grandfather, I know what you're worried about, but there's no turning back now. Either the Zhao and Luo families will be destroyed, or the Mo family will be destroyed. With Zhao Lizzie's death, second elder Zhao would definitely fly into a rage. He would either have a conflict with the Luo family or ask them to hand over Luo Yan. No matter what, with Zhao Lizzie's death, this marriage will be put on hold. This will give us some time to catch our breath and we can continue to plan our next move. Mo Xiaoting was stunned for a while. He was already shocked by Yun Chujia's meticulous thinking. With Zhao Lizzie's death, this game of chess had turned into a chaotic battle. Winning in a chaotic battle was simply too exquisite. Grandfather, the key to this matter is that the method of framing must be exquisite and there mustn't be any big flaws. Time is of the essence. We have to make our move the night after tomorrow at the latest. Grandfather, now is the most urgent time. So, you shouldn't hide anything and reveal all your trump cards. Even if you have to pay a heavy price, you have to do it well. Otherwise, we will make things worse and the consequences will be unimaginable, Yun Chujio said with a serious expression. Mo Xiaoting was silent for a moment, then, he gritted his teeth, Feng Chao, I have a shadow escape talisman in my hand. This talisman was left behind by my ancestor and I have never been willing to use it. After the shadow escape talisman is activated, it has an invisibility effect. It lasts for 2 hours and even a cultivator of the 9th layer of the Ling Xian realm will not be able to discover it. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. This was a good item. It seemed to be an upgraded version of the concealment talisman. Feng Chao, who do you think is the best candidate? This candidate is extremely important. Because of the shadow escape talisman, the level of spiritual power is secondary. We need to be smart and quick-witted, Mo Xiaoting asked. Grandfather, why don't I go? But, I need you to get me a map of the Luo family. It would be best if you could give me a description of the Luo family. Yun Chujio thought to herself, don't you want me to go? He even beat around the bush and said that he was smart and clever. Who else could match these two adjectives? Mo Xiaoting nodded his head in satisfaction. He felt that apart from Yun Chujio, no one else was capable of handling this matter. The two foxes muttered to each other for a while before they finally came to a decision and began their respective actions. Over the next 2 days, the Zhao family settled down in the Luo residence while Luo Pingxing treated them to food and drinks. Master Luo, is there anything unusual with the Mo family? Second elder Zhao asked arrogantly. Don't worry, I've been keeping an eye on them. Mo Xiaoting was probably disheartened, but the Mo family did not do anything. Mo Fengchao has been shopping for expensive clothes and jewelry in the Mo family's shop for the past 2 days. He even bought a red wedding dress from the Luo family's shop, Luo Pingxing said respectfully. Humph. I don't think he would dare to do anything. Tomorrow morning, I will bring Lizzie to pick up that Mo Fengchao. This matter will be considered a success, second elder Zhao said with a smug look on his face. Last time, he had failed to complete this matter. He was really angry. Fortunately, he had succeeded this time. Zhao Lizzie sat at the side. When he thought of Yun Chujia's beauty, he could not help but feel excited. He wished that he could enter the bridal chamber immediately. That night, Luo Pingxing hosted another banquet to entertain the uncle and nephew of the Zhao family. After a few drinks and a few dishes, Zhao Lizzie got up and went outside to relieve himself. Zhao Lizzie walked to a remote place. Just as he was about to relieve himself, he felt a gust of wind behind him, so he hurriedly dodged it. Patter. A fragrance pouch fell to the ground. Zhao Lizzie was stunned. He picked up the fragrance pouch and looked at it carefully. He saw the word Yen embroidered on it. Yen. Could it be that Luo Yen? Yesterday, Zhao Lizhi had seen Luo Yan greeting Luo Pingsheng. At that time, he had felt that although the little lady was not as good-looking as the black fragrant grass, she was still quite pretty. When Zhao Lizhi smelled the fragrance of the sachet, his heart immediately began to race. Could it be that Luo Yan was interested in this young master? Just as Zhao Lizhi was thinking about it, he saw a figure flash in front of him. It seemed that there was also a woman's delicate laughter. He could not help but immediately chase after her. Although a few guards of the Luo residence saw Zhao Lizhi, they knew that he was an important guest. Naturally, they did not dare to stop him. They could not help but feel puzzled. This young master Zhao seemed to be running in the direction of Miss Luo Yan's courtyard. What was he going to do there? Forget it. Even the head of the family could not afford to offend the Zhao family anyway. Why should they care about that? Thus, Zhao Lizhi smoothly arrived outside Luo Yan's courtyard. Although Zhao Lizhi didn't know that this was Luo Yan's courtyard, he knew that this was the courtyard that a woman lived in with just one look. His heart became even more restless. Taking advantage of the tipsy mood, he directly pushed open the courtyard door. Strangely, there were no maids to stop him. Zhao Lizhi directly entered the bedroom. In the bedroom, the bed hung low, and a woman's figure could be vaguely seen inside. Sister Yan, you lured me here, why are you still shy? Come out and talk to me. No one said anything inside. Zhao Lizhi simply lifted the curtain of the bed and saw Luo Yan lying there in her undergarments, revealing a large patch of snow-white skin. It was unknown whether she had fallen asleep or fainted. Zhao Lizhi was a pervert to begin with, so how could he care whether Luo Yan had fainted or fallen asleep? He immediately began to take off his clothes. When Zhao Lizhi took off half of his clothes, he felt a little dizzy. He shook his head. Damn it, drinking really messed things up. With a beauty in front of him, how could he be sleepy? Although Zhao Lizhi tried his best to stay awake, his head still became heavier and heavier. Finally, he fell on the bed with a plop. Yun Chujio revealed herself. She curled her lips and got Zhao Lizhi onto the bed. Yun Chujio took off the sword that was hanging by the bedside to ward off evil spirits and stuffed it into Luo Yan's hand. Then, she held Luo Yan's hand and stabbed the sword directly into Zhao Lizhi's chest. Yun Chujio looked at the crime scene that was created and felt that it was perfect. Although the Black Lotus skill was evil, it had to be said that using it to torture dregs was really sour and refreshing. This fellow opened the window and dissipated the remaining smell of the stun powder in the house. He took out the antidote and waved it in front of Luo Yan's nose. After removing the jade pendant from Zhao Lizhi's waist, he swaggered out of the bedroom. Yun Chujio threw Zhao Lizhi's jade pendant on the blue stone slab in the courtyard. Then, she went to the side room and gave the two maids a whiff of the antidote before concealing herself. The corners of this guy's mouth curled up. He went to the neighboring courtyard, lit a fire, and then left. This guy had already calculated that after the fire was ignited, everyone would definitely come to put out the fire. At this time, the medicinal properties of Luo Yan and the two maids had just passed. When the time came, they would definitely scream. The people who put out the fire thought that something had happened, so naturally, they would run over. Luo Yan had no time to hide the news of Zhao Lizhi's death. TSK, the scene would definitely be very exciting. It was a pity that the time limit of the Shadow Escape Talisman was limited, so they could not watch the live broadcast. Things were exactly as Yun Chujio had expected. After the fire started, Luo Pingsheng and Second Elder Zhao hurried over. Second Elder Zhao was still puzzled. Where did this kid, Lizhi, go? Why did he take so long to relieve himself? Could he have returned to the guest house when he was sleepy? While everyone was putting out the fire, they heard a few screams coming from the neighboring Luo Yan's courtyard. Luo Pingsheng was shocked. He wanted to enter the house to take a look, but after all, men and women were different. He could only ask from outside the house, Yen what happened? No, it's nothing, grandfather. I just had a nightmare. Luo Yan's trembling voice came from inside the house. Although Luo Pingxing felt that something was amiss, he couldn't ask too much. Just as he was about to leave, second elder Zhao found the jade pendant on the ground. Isn't this the jade pendant of determination? Why is it here? Second elder Zhao blurted out. Luo Pingsheng's head buzzed. Could it be that Yan and Zhao Lizzie were having an affair? How was this possible? They had only met once. Second elder Zhao clearly shared the same thoughts as Luo Pingsheng. He could not help but blame his nephew. No matter how impatient he was, he should not have provoked the Luo family's young lady. How was this going to end? Luo Pingsheng took a deep breath and dismissed his subordinates. Only he and second elder Zhao were left. Yan there are no outsiders now. Come out with young Master Lizzie. Luo Pingsheng secretly hated Luo Yan for being muddle-headed. That Zhao Lizzie was not a good person. How could he fall for her? After Luo Pingsheng finished speaking, there was no response from Luo Yan. He felt that something was not right. He gritted his teeth and pushed open the door. A strong smell of blood came from inside. Two maids were kneeling on the ground, shivering. Luo Yan was wearing a tunic and sitting on the bed with a pale face. Beside her was a man with a shining sword stuck in his chest. Second elder Zhao's heart tightened when he smelled the stench of blood. He could not care less about his manners and rushed into the room. When he saw the scene in front of him, he nearly fainted. Resolve. Resolve. Second elder Zhao threw himself in front of the bed and called out repeatedly. He fed him pills and injected his spiritual energy. Unfortunately, Zhao Lizzie was already dead. No matter how much he tried, it would be in vain. Luo Pingsheng's head buzzed. How could this be? How could Zhao Lizzie be in Yan Er's room? Why did Yan Er want to kill him? Could it be that he wanted to molest Yan Er? Second elder Zhao grabbed Luo Yan's neck. Bitch! Why did you kill Lizzie? Speak! Luo Pingsheng rushed forward. Second elder Zhao, calm down. Calm down. Even if you want to kill Yan Er, you have to let her speak. Second elder Zhao then let go of Luo Yan's neck and said viciously, Tell me, why did you kill Lizzie? Luo Yan coughed for a long time before she finally calmed down. She shouted hysterically, I didn't kill him, I didn't kill him. When I woke up, I found him dead here. Second elder Zhao slapped Luo Yan hard, bullshit. He died on your bed. If you didn't kill him, who did? Lizzie must have taken a fancy to you. How dare you kill him, you bitch. Although Luo Pingsheng was unhappy, he was afraid of the Zhao family. He carefully said, Second elder Zhao, I'm afraid there's something fishy about this. Let me ask in detail. If young Master Lizzie was really killed by Yan Er, I'll definitely kill her and give the Zhao family an explanation. Humph. Lizzie is my eldest brother's only son. Now that he's dead in your Luo family, this matter won't end. Second elder Zhao's eyes were bloodshot as he said furiously. Luo Pingsheng wiped off the cold sweat on his head and began to ask Luo Yan and the two handmaidens about what had happened. He also interrogated the guards who had seen Zhao Lizzie. Everyone immediately pieced together the truth of the matter. After Zhao Lizzie was drunk, his lust flared up, so he ran over to force Luo Yan to commit adultery. In the end, he was killed by Luo Yan with the evil warding sword at the bedside. It was reasonable, regardless of whether it was the motive or the scene, it was completely consistent. Even Luo Yan herself felt that she might have really killed Zhao Lizzie in her days. It was just that she was too shocked, so she couldn't remember. Luo Pingsheng, now that the evidence is conclusive, what else do you have to say? Second Elder Zhao thought of the things that he would face when he returned, and his head was as heavy as a mountain. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have brought his nephew here. Second Elder Zhao, sigh. Since things have come to this, there's nothing more I can say. Yan will be handed over to the Zhao family to deal with. In addition, the Luo family is willing to compensate half of our assets to the Zhao family. We only hope that you can plead on our behalf in front of family head Zhao and let us off this time. Luo Pingsheng was clearly even more cold-blooded than Mo Xiaoting. Without any hesitation, he immediately abandoned Luo Yan. Luo Yan was already in shock, but upon hearing Luo Pingsheng's words, she immediately fainted. Second Elder Zhao took a deep breath. I can't make the decision on this matter. I need to go back and ask my big brother for instructions. I also need to bring back the body that I've made up my mind to. I will return to Jianfeng City immediately. If you let Luo Yan escape in the meantime, I will bury the entire Luo family with you. Don't worry, I will definitely send someone to look after her. After all, this was an accident. Please deal with her when you return, Luo Pingsheng said as he handed over 1 billion high-grade spirit stones to Second Elder Zhao. Second Elder Zhao saw so many spirit stones. His expression softened a little. Your Luo clan is considered lucky. My elder brother's concubine is about to give birth, so you should pray that she gives birth to a son. Otherwise, even if I speak up for you again, I'm afraid that my elder brother will destroy your Luo clan. Yes, yes. No matter what, thank you very much. Luo Pingsheng wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He knew that even though Second Elder Zhao said this, it was highly unlikely that he would really destroy the Luo family. He just had to give up his wealth. Second Elder Zhao left Fengli City overnight with Zhao Lizi's body. Luo Pingsheng ordered for Luo Yan to be locked up in the courtyard. No one was allowed to visit her. The next morning, Mo Xiaoting came to visit. Master Luo, I'm here to see Second Elder Zhao. Didn't you say that you were going to marry Feng Chao today? Our Mo residence has already made preparations. Why is there no sign of the Zhao family? Mo Xiaoting went straight to the point. Luo Pingsheng's expression was ugly. Second Elder Zhao has returned to Jianfeng City for an urgent matter. Just wait for his news. We still have some matters to attend to. Please do as you wish. Mo Xiaoting looked at Luo Pingsheng suspiciously. The Zhao family has left. What's going on? Luo Pingsheng was frustrated and did not have the mood to deal with Mo Xiaoting. If you want to ask, go ask the Zhao family. Send them off. Mo Xiaoting scoffed. Luo Pingsheng, good, good. You've really turned hostile. After speaking, Mo Xiaoting stormed off angrily. It had to be said that Mo Xiaoting's acting was quite good. Luo Pingsheng did not suspect that the Mo family had anything to do with this. After returning to the Mo family home, Mo Xiaoting laughed for a full 15 minutes in the study room. Wonderful. 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 Feng Chao, well done. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Grandfather, don't be too happy yet. Although things are progressing smoothly, the crisis hasn't been resolved yet. Although Zhao Lizi was dead, the Zhao family still had other males. After Zhao Lizi's mourning period was over, the Zhao family would definitely come knocking on their door and ask for his hand in marriage. Moreover, since the Zhao family didn't fall out with the Luo family yesterday, it's likely that the Zhao family won't do anything to the Luo family. At most, they will just compensate us. Mo Xiaoting nodded. You have a point. What should we do next? The Luo family must be facing internal and external problems. They are in chaos. Immediately, spend a large sum of money to recruit guards and eliminate the Luo family. After annexing the Luo family, even if the Zhao family wants to seek revenge, we still have the power to fight them. Not to mention, we have the geographical advantage. Yun Chujia's eyes darkened. It was finally time to close the net. Luo Shi, you caused me to be separated from my family and friends. I will let your family die with you. Mo Shouting was silent for a moment before he gritted his teeth and said, Fine. We will do as you say. What else do we need to prepare? When the time comes, the Zhao family will most likely use the talisman supply to threaten other families and get them to help us. So, we need to secretly recruit talisman masters. If we can't do it, we will have to pay a high price. As long as the money is in place, we will definitely be able to recruit them. Lastly, we must not let my uncle and the others know about what we are doing, especially not my father. Otherwise, it will be easy for all our efforts to go down the drain. Mo Xiaoting's face was burning with anger. He raised both his hands and feet in agreement with Yun Chujia's words. The three idiots weren't good enough to do anything, they were more than good enough to ruin everything. If they knew about this, they would only ruin everything. After Yun Chujio and Mo Shouting finished their discussion, they hopped back to Tingyi Xian. As soon as they entered the house, they saw Di Baiming staring at her coldly with his dead fish eyes. Di Baiming received the news from Anfeng that Yun Chujio had actually agreed to the Zhao family's marriage and even wantonly bought wedding clothes. He was so angry that he could not find his bearings. Although Yun Chujio had previously told him that even if there was a marriage contract, it would be fake and she would resolve it, he still rushed over day and night. If he wanted to snatch his wife, he was simply courting death. Of course, what he did not know was that his little Black Lotus wife had destroyed that so-called fiancé within minutes. When Yun Chujio saw Di Baiming, her heart was filled with joy. However, when she thought of the voice transmission talisman from the last time and saw Di Baiming staring at her dead fish eyes, her little face sank. Oh my, isn't this someone who abandoned me? Which demonic wind blew you here? Yun Chujio crossed her arms and leaned against the door, pouting as she said. Di Baiming had already thought it through. The black thing was forced. If she explained properly, he would not bother with her. Who would have thought that Yun Chujio's mouth would be filled with guns and sticks? His expression became even darker. I abandoned you. Didn't you already agree to someone else's marriage? I heard that you even bought wedding clothes. Are you complaining that I came at a bad time? Nonsense. Who did you hear it from? Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. How did the gigolo know about my matters? Could it be that he had arranged a secret guard by my side? Humph. I naturally have a way to know what I want to know. Stop changing the topic. Shouldn't you explain it to me? Explain your head. You only know how to be jealous all the time. I was forced to do that, okay? Do you think I want to be related to a bastard? You still have the nerve to question me. Who came here in the middle of the night to break up? Who was the one who was like a wooden stake all the time? Who was the one who threw his face at me all the time? Pretty boy, ask yourself, what right do you have to question me? Yun Chujio's eyes turned red as she spoke. Although she was independent and strong-willed, she still felt weak and wronged in front of the people closest to her. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio was about to cry and immediately became numb. He threw all his anger and face to the back of his mind. He jumped in front of Yun Chujio and hugged her in his arms. He said clumsily, I didn't say anything. Why are you crying? Yun Chujio cried out, what else do you want to say? You don't trust me, you bastard. You only know how to be jealous all the time. It's not that I don't trust you, I'm just angry. I'm angry at myself. If I'm strong enough, I can protect you. We won't have to suffer separation. It's all my fault that I'm too weak. Di Baiming's eyes were filled with heartache and guilt. If he was strong enough, why would little Jiao need to plan step by step? It was all because he was too weak. Yun Chujio was definitely a snob. When she saw Di Biming's heartache, she immediately pinched and hammered him. "You gigolo, you say it well, but every time you stare at me with dead fish eyes to scare me." Before Yun Chujio could finish her words, she heard Di Biming grunt. Then, fresh blood oozed out from his chest. "Are you injured?" Yun Chujio was shocked and quickly took off Di Biming's shirt. There was a gaping wound on Di Biming's chest and he was bleeding profusely. Not only that, his body was full of wounds, some were deep and some were shallow. It was obvious that he was injured profusely. Yun Chujio hurriedly took out a pill to stop the bleeding from her storage ring and fed it to Di Biming. Then, she sprinkled some powder on the wound. "Are you stupid? Why aren't you applying the medicine?" Yun Chujio was so angry that she gritted her teeth and asked fiercely. "I was in a hurry when I rushed here. I didn't have time to take care of it. Besides, I'm already used to it. It'll be fine in 2 days." Di Biming said casually. "You bastard. Do you know that you're mine? Your body is mine too. How dare you not cherish it? Let me tell you, if you really leave a scar all over your body, I won't have sex with you." Yun Chujio wiped her tears and said. This guy was very distressed. Di Biming had so many wounds on his body, which meant that he was in an extremely dangerous situation. Di Biming used his hand to gently wipe Yun Chujio's tears away. "I'm really fine. Ever since I fainted and woke up, my body has changed. This little injury can't do anything to me." Yun Chujio's heart moved. "You fainted? When did this happen?" Di Biming saw that he had let the cat out of the bag, so he couldn't hide it anymore. Hence, he simply told her what had happened. That day, after Yun Chujio was taken away by manager Xia, Di Biming spat out a mouthful of fresh blood in a fit of rage, and then fainted. Di Linhan and the others were badly frightened. They fed the pills and injected their spirit energy, but there was no effect at all. Di Biming's face had been as pale as paper, and his pulse had become extremely weak. The hall master's wife had been washing her face with tears all day long. When the old man of the Heaven Lake heard the news, he also rushed over and fed Di Biming the remaining level 15 Hun Dun vitality pill. After taking the pill, although Di Biming did not wake up, his pulse became stronger. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. However, the old man only had 1 Hun Dun life pill, so everyone was helpless again. A month later, when the entire longevity palace was shrouded in a golden light, Di Biming opened his eyes. At that time, an phone was guarding Di Biming's bedroom, and he was directly knocked out by the surging spiritual power in his body. After Di Biming helped him channel the spirit energy in his body, the spirit energy of an Feng, who had been unlucky for 10,000 years, had jumped from the 6th level of the Supreme Spirit Realm to the 9th level of the Profound Spirit Realm. When this fellow woke up, he almost went crazy with joy. The people in the Temple of Immortals had more or less increased their spirit energy, but it was not as obvious as in Feng. When Di Linhan and the palace master's wife saw that Di Biming had woken up, they were naturally overjoyed, but they immediately realized that Di Biming had changed. His appearance was still the same, but his entire aura had become even colder, and even carried a hint of coldness. With just a glance, one would feel a sense of reverence from the bottom of one's heart. Coincidentally, Xue Wuji had rushed over when he heard the news that Yun Chujio had been taken away. This fellow did not know that Di Biming was no longer the same as before. The first thing he did was to curse, "You facial paralysis. You useless thing. I entrusted little sister Jiu to you, yet you didn't protect her properly. If I knew this would happen, I would have brought little sister Jiu to our blood devil sect, you piece of trash." Di Biming frowned and waved his hand. Xue Wuji, who was unprepared, was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. When everyone saw this, they quickly went forward to dissuade him. Di Biming only said two words indifferently, trash. At this moment, the welcoming light from the immortal essence continent descended. Di Biming dragged Feng and directly stepped into the welcoming light. When he saw the Hall Master's wife who was crying, he frowned and calmly said, "Take care." After that, he didn't say anything. Feng, who was originally extremely excited, was now flustered. This was because he was so unlucky that he did not expect to go to the immortal Yuan continent after his spiritual power had increased. Everything else was fine, but if he left, wouldn't he not be able to see Miss Jinji? Just before he was teleported, this fellow finally mustered up his courage and shouted loudly, Miss Jinji, I will wait for you in the immortal Yuan continent. I will always be waiting for you. As soon as Feng finished his words, the guiding light disappeared, and Di Biming and Feng also disappeared. The heavy sadness of parting was instantly washed away by Feng's stroke of genius. Almost everyone turned to look at Jinji. Although Jinji was outgoing and cheerful, no matter how cheerful she was, it was still very uncomfortable to be confessed to in public, okay? Besides, Feng was an idiot. If you confessed, then confess. Why did you have to add the word miss after Jinji? It was very awkward, okay? After Di Biming and Feng arrived at the immortal Yuan continent, they started to search for information about Yunchuzhou. Then, the incident from a few months ago happened. Yunchuzhi's heart was suddenly in pain as Di Biming told her the story. She remembered that when she left, she did hear the Hall Master's wife's exclamation. At that time, she thought that she was hallucinating, she did not expect the pretty boy to vomit blood at that time. Yunchuzhou hugged Di Biming's waist and sobbed, "Prince Charming, I did not know that you fainted. Otherwise, I would have thought of a way to delay for a period of time before leaving." Di Biming stroked Yunchuzhi's hair and said, "Am I not fine now? It can be considered a blessing in disguise. Otherwise, based on my original cultivation progress, I would still need at least a year to see you." Yunchuzhou wiped her tears and snot with Di Biming's sleeve and asked with a sobbing voice, "What is that golden light? Why are you emitting it? You are not made of gold." Di Biming saw the mess on his sleeve and the corner of his eyes twitched. He resisted the urge to push Yunchuzhou away and said, "I don't know the details. It seems to be a seal in my body. Little Joe, I can't figure out some things right now, so I can't tell you. I'll tell you when I've figured things out." Yunchuzhou had a great advantage, and that was that she was tactful. She saw that Di Biming didn't want to talk too much, so she changed the topic. "Brother Wu Ji is also concerned about me. Why did you hit him? Besides, it's okay to hit him. Why did you hit him so hard?" Di Biming heard Yunchuzhou say, "Beating him up is fine too." The corners of his mouth curled up, "That idiot is too weak. I'm helping him by beating him up. I believe that he will soon ascend to the immortal Yuan continent. When that time comes, be it helping me or protecting you, it's a good choice. Although he's stupid and useless, he's still not bad." Yunchuzhou immediately said happily, "Really? Brother Wu Ji is coming soon. That's great. It would be even better if Beauty Jinji could come too." Hearing Yunchuzhi's words, the corners of Di Biming's mouth twitched slightly as he said, "Jinji should be coming soon too. Jinji's spiritual power is not as high as mine. How could she also ascend soon?" Yunchuzhou asked in puzzlement. It turned out that although Feng and Jinji had not broken through that layer of window paper, the two of them still had frequent interactions. On the same day, Jinji picked some fruits to give to Feng. Just as she walked out of Di Biming's courtyard, she was knocked out by the sudden golden light. This guy had gotten a blessing in disguise. After he woke up, his spiritual power level had directly jumped to the 9th layer of Supreme Spirit Realm. However, because he had leveled up too much at once, he needed to stabilize himself for a period of time before he could continue cultivating. He estimated that it would not be long before he could also ascend. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. After listening to Di Baiming's story, Yun Chujio was so happy that she could not close her mouth. Then, she pouted and became unhappy. Fuck. After all this time, am I not the weakest? Initially, Jin Ji was at the bottom. But now, they have all leveled up because of you. I am the weakest. Di Baiming was about to comfort her when he heard Yun Chujio continue, but, it's nothing. Stupid birds fly first. Someone as powerful as me can definitely catch up later. Di Baiming. Little Jiu, turn around. I need to change my clothes. Di Baiming saw that his clothes were not only stained with blood, but Yun Chujio's snot and tears were also on his sleeves. He felt really uncomfortable. He was ready to change into a clean set of clothes. Yun Chujio pouted, so what if I can peek? Besides, it used to be interesting. Now that there are scars on it, I can't be bothered to look. Just change. I promise I won't peek. Di Baiming had no choice but to turn around and change his clothes with his back facing Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio, this fellow, peeked openly. At first, she was teasing him, but when she saw that Di Baiming's back was also covered in scars, her eyes turned red. Damn it. I'm too weak now. If anyone dares to bully my man, I'll kill him. No, after the Luo and Zhao families' matters are settled, I must find an excuse to go out and train. Otherwise, how long will it take for me to become stronger? When Di Baiming changed his clothes and turned around, he saw Yun Chujio's eyes were as red as a rabbit's. Before Di Baiming could speak, Yun Chujio threw herself into his arms and cried again. Then, she used Di Baiming's sleeves as a handkerchief. Di Baiming did not have the time to care about his clothes getting dirty again. He asked anxiously, Little Jiu, what's wrong? Sob, I'm too useless. I'm too useless. I can't fight with you side by side and you have to worry about me. I'm just a burden, idiot, I'm useless. It's natural for a man to protect a woman. I can't protect you well, I'm useless. No, I'm useless. I'm useless. I'm even worse than Jin Ji. I'm useless. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched. He didn't know if Jin Ji would vomit blood from anger when she heard Little Jiu's words. Di Baiming comforted her for a long time. However, Yun Chujio probably had too many tears recently, so she cried endlessly. Moreover, she even cried in a cadence. Di Baiming really had no choice. He simply stuffed her mouth with his lips. Finally, it was quiet. After a long while, Di Baiming finally let go of Yun Chujio. Humph. Pervert. You only know how to take advantage of me. Yun Chujio muttered with a red face. Di Baiming's heart was agitated again. He wanted to tear her apart and eat her right away, but he could only think about it. The two of them lingered for a while more before Di Baiming said, Little Jiu, why don't I help you kill the people from the Luo and Zhao families? That way, you'll be able to relax a little. Yun Chujio shook her head. Prince Charming, I'll do it myself. It's not that I'm being pretentious. I'll only be happy if I can take revenge myself. Furthermore, I have to make use of these two families to stir up some trouble. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio's attitude was firm. Moreover, he knew that she had many ideas. Hence, he had no choice but to give up on the idea of starting a massacre. Do you have any pills with you? Yun Chujio thought of a crucial question. It turns out that everything you gave me is basically gone. However, I bought some more. Although the effects are not as good as the ones you gave me, they are still passable. Beiming originally thought that the alchemy skills of the immortal Yuan continent would be much better than that of the Tian Yuan continent. He did not expect that the actual situation was almost the same. Therefore, even if he spent a high price, the medicinal pills he bought were not as good as the heaven-grade blood coagulation pills and sudden spirit pills that Yun Chuzhou refined. When Yun Chuzhou heard Beiming's words, she took out more than 10 pots of medicinal pills from her storage ring and passed them to Beiming. The corner of Beiming's eyes twitched violently. "Little Jiu, when did you store so many medicinal pills? Prince Charming, you also know that I'm often trapped in strange places, so it's better to be prepared. Besides, Go Weiba is a foodie. If he doesn't eat medicinal pills for a period of time, he will cause trouble," Yun Chuzhou said with disdain. Beiming frowned and said, "Go Weiba is always a disaster. I will definitely help you find a way to solve it." The grass in Yun Chuzhiu's dantian trembled. It was so scary, so scary. Fortunately, only a small part of that person's seal was broken. If it was broken, the grass life would be in danger. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and said, "Prince Charming, wait for me here. I will go back to the bedroom to get something for you." Beiming was very puzzled. According to little Jiu's character, she would naturally bring good things with her at all times. Why would she still keep them in the bedroom? After a while, Yun Chuzhou walked out of the bedroom. She handed a wooden box to Beiming. "Prince Charming, if you are seriously injured and the pills are not effective, you can open this wooden box. There are the pills that I have newly developed inside." Beiming took it and was about to open it. Yun Chuzhou stopped him. "What's so good about pills? Just keep it. Also, keep these sacks of supergrade burst talismans. Don't be so stubborn. Use whatever tricks you can. The most important thing is to keep your life. Take me for example. Although my spiritual power is weak, I can use my Black Lotus skill to take revenge very quickly. So, you have to be flexible." Hearing Yun Chuzhiu's words, Beiming was stunned. He did not open the wooden box and directly put it into his storage ring. "Little Jiu, I know you have a lot of tricks up your sleeve, but don't try to be brave. If you run into trouble that you can't solve, you can send a message to Enfong. I will ask him to protect you in the dark." Beiming knew that with Yun Chuzhiu's intelligence, she must have guessed that Enfong was nearby, so he decided not to hide it. "Okay, I got it. Sigh, if only Brother Wu Ji, that idiot, had ascended earlier, we would have more helpers." Yun Chuzhou pouted and said, "That idiot, it will probably take some time for him to ascend. However, in the Western continent, with Enfong protecting you, it should be enough," Beiming said. Shui Wuji, who was cultivating in the Tian Yuan continent, sneezed twice. "Damn it! Who is talking bad about me behind my back? It must be that facial paralysis. I don't know if he found little sister Jiu, that damn facial paralysis actually made me lose face. When I ascend, I will definitely regain my face." Yun Chuzhou and Beiming chatted for a while. Although Beiming was reluctant to part with her. However, he could only leave. "Little Jiu, I can't come here often. Otherwise, I might implicate you. You have to be more careful. Don't fall behind in your cultivation. No matter how powerful your schemes are, they are useless in the face of an absolute difference in strength. You can't always take advantage of the situation." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. At first, Yun Chuzhou was listening to him attentively, but when she saw Beiming's endless speech, she was a little distracted. The scene of him peeking just now flashed in her mind. Although the gigolo's body was full of wounds, it was still very pleasing to the eye. It was really a big loss for him to sneak a few times just now. Beiming rambled on for a long time, and then he saw a wretched smile on Yun Chujia's lips. He glared at her angrily. "Little Jiu, what are you thinking about?" "I was thinking that you should have taken off your pants just now so that I could see the whole set." The gigolo realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He laughed dryly. Hee, Prince Charming, don't be angry. Everyone has a heart for beauty." Di Biming took a deep breath and said, "Take care of yourself." After he left the room, he disappeared in a few flashes. Yun Chuzhou pouted. What a blockhead. Normally, shouldn't she take off her clothes and let me touch her? Xiao Hanio said weakly, "Master, if what you said is not normal, okay? Shut up. You still have the face to talk about me? You talk about the three of you, no, the four of you are each weaker than a chicken. Their spiritual pets are awesome and lightning fast. Look at you guys, all of you are bragging about immortal beasts and exotic beasts, but in reality, how are you all powerful? Aren't you guys always using the light of my leveling up to level up?" Xiao Hanio was immediately rolled his eyes at the other three. "Don't you think you owe us? This is great. We are all being ridiculed by our master because of you." Xiao Hanio glared at him and defended himself, "Master, you can't blame us. After all, we are all spiritual beings from an extraordinary background. Can we be like those coquettish beasts? Our lifespans are very, very long, so we are only like human babies now. Tell me, can you ask too much of a baby? You dumbass, do you still have a point? From today onwards, your food will be halved." Yun Chuzhou was in a bad mood, so Xiao Hanio bumped into the muzzle of the gun. Xiao Hanio glared at her and did not dare to say anything. It felt that if it continued to talk nonsense, not only would its food be halved, it would also be beaten up. "Sigh, I'm also very worried, okay? I also want to become an awesome lightning, okay? But isn't this taking things slowly? Could it be that I can become a fat bird in one bite?" After Yun Chuzhou scolded Xiao Hanio, she went to Qing Ji and Qing Liu's house. As expected, the two maids were unconscious. They were probably knocked out by Di Biming. Yun Chuzhou could not help but complain. This gigolo was either knocking on the door or knocking on people. However, she could only knock them out. Otherwise, the gigolo would be exposed. Yun Chuzhou woke up Qing Ji and Qing Lu. Both of them looked baffled. What was going on? Forget what happened just now. Nothing happened. Do you understand? Yun Chuzhou said with a dark face. Qing Lu and Qing Ji naturally did not dare to object. They obediently nodded and agreed. Yun Chuzhou went to Mo Fangqin's house again and woke Mo Fangqin up. She said the same thing. Mo Fangqin was very sensible. She didn't ask anything. Instead, she said, "Big sister, what did grandfather say? Why didn't the Zhao family come to marry you?" Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. "I heard that the Zhao family went back to Jianfeng City overnight. Don't you think it's a coincidence?" Mo Fangqin's face stiffened as she thought to herself, what a coincidence. It must be the doing of a country bumpkin. How did she do it? What a pervert. Third sister, the weather will probably change in the next few days. TSK, I'm still a little excited. Yun Chuzhou said with a grin. Mo Fangqin felt that someone was going to be unlucky. This fellow was so excited. He must have thought of some bad idea. In the end, the Zhao family did not destroy the Luo family. However, they actually made a request that Yun Chuzhou thought was extremely ridiculous. The Zhao family let the Luo family kill Luo Yan and then let Luo Yan marry Zhao Lizhi as their underworld wife. In other words, they buried Luo Yan and Zhao Lizhi together. This way, Zhao Lizhi could be considered to have a family in the netherworld. Luo Pingsheng did not hesitate at all. He killed Luo Yan in front of second elder Zhao and handed Luo Yan's body to him. Luo family head, you're lucky. My elder brother's concubine actually gave birth to a fat kid. You should take care of yourself in the future. Second elder Zhao said with his lips curled. Second elder Zhao, please put in a few good words for me when you go back. I'll help you keep an eye on the Mo family. I'll report any news to you immediately. What do you plan to do with Mo Fengchao? Luo Pingxing thought to himself, the Luo family had lost almost half of their assets. It would be best if the Zhao family could get rid of Mo Fengchao as soon as possible so that he could think of a way to annex the Mo family. Although they have already made up their minds, there are still many unmarried men in the family. Once the mourning period is over, I will come again to propose marriage. I don't think Mo Xiaoting would dare to refuse. Hearing second elder Zhao's words, Luo Pingxing could not help but heave a sigh of relief. He complimented second elder Zhao a few more times before sending him off. Luo Shi stayed at the Luo family for a few days before returning to the Mo family. Mo Cheng naturally wanted to ask about Luo Yan. The Luo family had caused such a huge commotion, so it was impossible for them to keep it a secret. Hence, Luo Shi decided to tell Mo Cheng what had happened. Mo Cheng could not help but feel a chill run down his spine. He felt that Luo Pingxing was even more ruthless than his father. Luo Yan was usually the most favored, yet he had killed her so easily. When Luo Shi saw Mo Cheng's pale face, she comforted him gently, "Darling, my father has no choice. If we do not give the Zhao family an explanation, the Zhao family will definitely exterminate the Luo family." Mo Cheng nodded and said against his will, "I understand." Father-in-law was forced to do so. When Luo Shi saw how timid Mo Cheng was and recalled the incident with the two concubines, she began to despise Mo Cheng. She originally felt that Mo Cheng was quite good-looking and had a good family background, so she thought of a way to climb into his bed. She never expected that he was becoming more and more useless. He was truly useless. If she had known this would happen, she would have left with that enemy. That enemy was extremely bold. Perhaps, he had already made a name for himself. Mo Cheng noticed Luo Shi's indifferent expression and asked in puzzlement, "Xiaoyun, what are you thinking about?" Luo Shi said in a slightly flustered manner, "I'm thinking about the 7-star lucky card. Now that Fengchao isn't married, it looks like the money tree still has to be under her control." Mo Cheng did not doubt him as he sighed and said, "Now, father is placing more and more trust in that rebellious daughter. Unless she marries someone in the future, the 7-star lucky card will not be ours. I heard from my father that although Zhao Lizzie is dead, there are still other unmarried men in the Zhao family. In a few days, the Zhao family will come to propose marriage. We will think of another way," said Luo Shi in a lowered voice. Mo Cheng's eyes lit up. "Really? That's great. When the time comes, I will definitely snatch the 7-star lucky card. We will accumulate more assets. Even if the Mo family is really finished, we will not have to worry about food and drink." For a period of time, the Mo residence returned to its usual calm. In reality, Mo Xiaoting had secretly recruited quite a number of bodyguards, but they were temporarily stationed in another town. Mo Xiaoting found an excuse and did not allow Mo Cheng and Luo Shi to return to Jinchuan City. Mo Cheng was staring at the 7-star lucky card, so he naturally couldn't wait for it. That day, Mo Cheng followed Mo Peng and Mo Chang out for a drink and did not return to the Mo residence that night. Although Luo Shi was unhappy, she was already numb to such matters. So, she turned off the lights early and prepared to go to bed. At this moment, the bedroom door opened. Luo Shi thought Mo Cheng had returned and said angrily, "You still know to come back. I thought you were bewitched by the little vixen." The person did not say a word as he walked straight to the window and called out, "Xiaoyun, it's me." Luo Shi's heart jolted as she looked up at the person. Hua Lang, it's you. You're back. The person hugged Luo Shi and without a word, he began to touch her. After a round of intimacy, Luo Shi could not help but grumble, Hua Lang, you are too gutsy. Why did you directly enter the Mo residence? What if you were discovered? Besides, Mo Cheng isn't in the residence today. It would be terrible if he were to bump into you. Humph. Xiao Yun, things are different now. I do not think much of the tiny Mo residence. Besides, I only came here because I saw Mo Cheng go to the cauldron, and hall. Xiao Yun, it's been so many years since we last met. You are still as moving as ever. I really missed you to death. HMH, that's a nice way of putting it. Since you missed me, why haven't you heard from me for so many years? Feng Hua and Jun Chen are already so old. Why didn't you say that you would come back to take a look? Said Luo Shi angrily. Xiao Yun, look at what you're saying. That's my flesh and blood, how could I not miss it? It's just that back then, your father thought that I was a poor kid with no ability, so of course, I had to live like a human before I could come back. Luo Shi was delighted when she heard this. Hua Lang, from what you've said, are you very powerful now? Xiao Yun, by chance, I found a cave abode that contained elixirs left behind by ancient cultivators. After I ate them, I had my essence cleansed and my spiritual power continuously increased. I'm already at the 6th level of the Ling Xian realm. That old bastard Mo Shouting is only at the 5th level of the Ling Xian realm. Tell me, who do you think I'm afraid of? The man could not help but feel proud of himself. He had returned home in glory. Hua Lang, is what you said true? That's great. It just so happens that the Luo family wants to destroy the Mo family. When the time comes, you can lend us a helping hand. My father will definitely look at you in a new light. TSK, Mo Fenghua and Mo Junchen are actually not Mo Cheng's children. This is really exciting good news. If Mo Cheng knew about this, would he be so angry that he would die? I'm really looking forward to it. After Yun Chuzhou was happy for a while, she was a little worried. The old lover of the Luo clan was at the 6th level of the Ling Xian realm, which was even higher than the old fox's spiritual energy level. If they were to fight, it would be a disaster. Yun Chuzhou thought about it and decided to first investigate the identity of the old lover of the Luo clan. After confirming his whereabouts, she would think of a way to deal with him. The next day, Yun Chuzhou called He Shi over. He Shi, I'll give you a secret mission. Go and investigate if the Luo clan had a lover named Hua before marrying my father. Also, after you find a place to stay, send someone to keep an eye on him. Be careful. That person's spiritual energy is extremely high. He Shi was dumbfounded. Could this little ancestor know how to calculate? How did she know that the Luo clan had a lover in the past and that the person's spiritual energy was extremely high? However, He Shi did not dare to ask any further. After he left, he sent a few of his subordinates to secretly investigate the matter. 3 days later, He Shi came over with a face full of admiration and reported, "Miss, we found a person called Zhang Hua. His family used to be neighbors with the Mo family. Zhang Hua and Madame Luo could be said to have grown up together as childhood sweethearts. However, Zhang Hua's parents both passed away due to illness, and their family background fell apart. It was said that Luo Pingsheng was very opposed to the two of them being together. Later, Madame Luo married into the Mo family for some unknown reason. Zhang Hua rented a courtyard in the south of the city and hired 2 servants. He rarely goes out, so I've already sent someone to keep an eye on him." Yun Chuzhou nodded, "You've done well. This matter is strictly kept a secret. Even my grandfather cannot know about it. Do you understand?" Yes, I understand. He sure was certain that Mo Xiaoting was no match for the little ancestor. In order to save his life, it was better to listen to the little ancestor. Get someone to draw Zhang Hua's face and the topographic map of his courtyard for me. I have a use for it. Yes. The next day, He Shi handed over Zhang Hua's portrait and the topographic map of his rented courtyard to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou looked at Zhang Hua's portrait and could not help but laugh. Mo Junchen looked at least 80% like this Zhang Hua. Mo Cheng was definitely a cuckold. After He Shi went down, Yun Chuzhou rubbed her chin and pondered for a while. Then, she took out a voice transmission talisman. Little lunatic, come to my courtyard at midnight today. I have something to ask you. Anfeng had been very bored for the past few days. When he heard Yun Chuzhiu's call, he came that night. Mo Fangqin and the two handmaidens had been drugged by Yun Chuzhiu. This guy felt that being drugged was better than being knocked out. Yes, that was it. Miss Jiu, it has been a long time since we last met. You have become even more magnificent and beautiful. Anfeng immediately flattered her the moment he saw her because he was afraid that Yun Chuzhiu would seek revenge on him. After all, he did not dare to reply when Yun Chuzhiu sent him a voice transmission talisman. Humph. Do you think that just by saying a few good words, I will let you off the hook? Little lunatic, at such a critical moment, you are actually on the same side as the gigolo. Are you worthy of the pills and delicious food that I gave you? You're still coveting my beauty, Jinji? Dream on. Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly. Obviously, she did not buy it. Miss Jiu, you've really wronged me. It's not like you don't know how scary the Honorable Sir has become. How would I dare to disobey him? If I don't obey him, he'll really kill me. Are you stupid? You don't dare to do it on the surface, but don't you know how to play tricks behind my back? Besides, what's there to be afraid of with a gigolo? Isn't it just a paper tiger? What are you afraid of? Yun Chuzhou said with a twitch of her lips. Anfeng was about to cry. Paper tiger? In front of you is a paper tiger, but in front of me is a real tiger. Ah, no, the overlord is stronger than the tiger. Anfeng said a few more nice things, and Yun Chuzhou snorted, forget it. I've always been able to support a ship with my stomach. I won't lower myself to your level. Anfeng's mouth twitched. Won't lower myself to your level. I'm about to spit out white foam. Little lunatic, I have something I need you to do. If you can do it well, I'll completely forgive you, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Miss Jiu, what do you want me to do? Anfeng asked nervously. Could this little ancestor be up to something again? Don't worry, it's not a difficult thing. Control this person and don't kill him. Just keep him alive. I will be useful in a few days. Yun Chuzhou handed Zhang Hua's portrait and the topographic map to Anfeng. Anfeng took it and looked at it. Miss Jiu, what's his cultivation level? At the 6th level of the Lingxian realm, you should have no problem dealing with him, but to be on the safe side, he'll send you a few helpers. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. It was not bad to let He Shi and the others meet Anfeng, it could intimidate them and prevent them from wavering. Zhang Hua was still dreaming of wiping out the Mo family and reaching the peak of his life. Who would have thought that he would already be targeted by Xiao Sha? Anfeng's cultivation was already higher than Zhang Hua's. With the help of He Shi and the others, it didn't take much effort to capture Zhang Hua. After Yun Chuzhou received the news, she hopped over to look for Mo Xiaoting. Grandfather, the time is ripe. There's no time to lose. Let's do it tonight. Yun Chuzhiu's eyes were filled with excitement. She was really looking forward to seeing her scumbag father suffer a huge blow. Mo Xiaoting knew that there was no turning back now, so he did not have any objections. He discussed the details of the operation with Yun Chuzhou and then sent people to gather the recruited guards and infiltrate Fengli City. The next night, the Luo family suddenly erupted into flames and shouted for everyone to die. Luo Pingsheng's face turned pale with fright. He quickly left the bedroom and found Mo Xiaoting waiting for him with a cold smile on his face. Beside Mo Xiaoting stood the smiling Mo Fengchao, and behind them were more than 20 guards. Mo Xiaoting, what do you mean? Although Luo Pingsheng's heart was shaken, his expression remained calm. Mo Xiaoting was just about to say something righteous when Yun Chuzhou said, "Grandfather, don't waste your breath on him. Just kill him. Little ones, charge. As long as you kill this old thing, the master will reward you handsomely." The guards had originally come for the Mo residence's high salary. Now that they heard that they would be rewarded handsomely, they naturally charged forward and launched a fierce spiritual attack at Luo Pingsheng. Luo Pingsheng's spiritual energy wasn't even as high as Mo Xiaoting's. How could he be a match for these people? He begged for mercy. "Master Mo, brother Mo, we are in-laws. Please spare me. I am willing to give all of the Luo family's assets to you. All I ask is that you spare my old life." Mo Xiaoting sneered, "Luo Pingsheng, it's too late for you to say all this. The moment you plotted against the Mo family, our two families became enemies." Seeing that his pleas were useless, Luo Pingsheng immediately changed his expression. "Mo Xiaoting, if you kill me, the Zhao family will not let you off. You're courting death." Mo Xiaoting scoffed, "You don't have to worry about the Mo family. Go ahead and kill him." Luo Pingsheng was quickly subdued by the crowd. Just as Mo Xiaoting was about to kill him with a slap, Mo Cheng arrived with Luo Shi, Mo Fenghua and Mo Junchen. Although Mo Cheng had been displeased with Luo Shi recently, they had been husband and wife for so many years. They still had feelings for each other, not to mention Mo Fenghua. Mo Xiaoting's hands immediately went numb. "Father, please spare my father-in-law. You can't just watch Qiaoyun and Fenghua commit suicide, can you?" Mo Xiaoting's head was buzzing. If it wasn't for Fenghua and Junchen, he would have killed Luo Shi as well. Otherwise, his second brother, who had soft ears, would sooner or later cause trouble. Mo Cheng saw that Mo Xiaoting wasn't speaking, so he gritted his teeth and pulled out a dagger and held it to his neck. "Father, if you don't agree, I won't live anymore." Mo Xiaoting was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This wasn't a son, this was clearly an enemy. Yun Chuzhou felt it was her turn, so she smiled and said, "Father, don't kill yourself yet. Before you die, you have to meet someone. This person is an old acquaintance of second aunt's." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Cheng glared at her. "Scram to the side. It's all because of you, the troublemaker. If not, why would there be so many things happening?" Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. "Father, you will not say that in a while. You will still thank me. Hey Shi, bring second aunt's old acquaintance here." Luo Shi's heart sank. She had an extremely ominous premonition. No, that's impossible. It definitely could not be Hualang. With his high spiritual energy, he definitely would not be captured by that slut, Mo Fengchao. Definitely not. However, when she saw the person He Shi had imprisoned, her head buzzed. How was that possible? How did Hualang end up in the hands of that slut, Mo Fengchao? As the Luo family did not live in Fengli City before they made their fortune, Mo Cheng did not know Zhang Hua. He snorted coldly and said, "How unreasonable. Qiaoyun, do you know him?" Luo Shi tried her best to remain calm, but her voice was still trembling as she said, He he was my former neighbor. TSK, second aunt, is it as simple as just being a neighbor? I heard that the two of you are childhood sweethearts. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Oh, Luo Shi saw the suspicious expression on Mo Cheng's face. She hurriedly said, Darling, although we played together when we were young, we broke up when we grew up. Feng Chao, even if you hate me, you should not have captured an innocent person. You have really gone too far. When Mo Cheng heard Luo Shi's words, coupled with the fact that he subconsciously did not wish to think of the worst, he roared, Unfilial daughter, scram. Father, don't be in such a hurry to make me scram. Take a good look at this person's appearance. Don't you have any other thoughts? Yun Chujio said with a chuckle. Mo Cheng looked at Zhang Hua reluctantly. In order for him to see clearly, He Shi had specially raised Zhang Hua's head. Mo Cheng felt that Zhang Hua's face looked familiar. Could it be that he had seen him before? Father, don't you think that Zhang Hua looks very similar to my brother Jun Chen? TSK, they look exactly the same. Don't you think it's a coincidence? Yun Chujio said. Upon hearing this, Mo Cheng subconsciously turned to look at Mo Junchen before turning to look at Zhang Hua. After looking at him a few times, his head buzzed and he nearly fainted. He had originally thought that Mo Junchen looked more like Luo Shi, but he never expected that he would actually follow this adulterer. He then looked at Mo Fenghua. Although she had 70% of Luo Shi's looks, her slightly raised phoenix eyes were exactly the same as Zhang Hua's. Slut! I'm going to kill you. Mo Cheng kicked Luo Shi to the ground and gave her a few tight slaps. Darling, I'm being wrongly accused. That slut is spouting nonsense. Luo Shi no longer had the time to act as though she was committing suicide as she explained while crying. Mo Cheng was not willing to listen to her explanation. Now that the evidence was conclusive, there was no need to interrogate her. Zhang Hua's face was the best proof. Luo Qiaoyun, you slut. No wonder you took the initiative to climb into my bed. It turns out that you wanted me to be your father. I'm going to kill you. Yun Chujio nearly burst out laughing. Be your father? What an image. Everyone present was stunned by this turn of events. Luo Pingxing knew a thing or two about this matter, but he never expected Yun Chujio to actually capture Zhang Hua. He immediately knew that he was doomed. Mo Fenghua and Mo Junchen were even more incredulous. They were actually the children of Luo Shi and this adulterer. How was this possible? Mo Fenghua. You are spouting nonsense. You slut. You will die a horrible death. Mo Fenghua cursed hysterically as she pounced at Yun Chujio. The dagger in her hand stabbed straight at Yun Chujio's chest. There were many guards standing behind Yun Chujio, so she naturally would not allow Mo Fengchao to succeed. She easily controlled Mo Fengchao. Mo Junchen was a coward, so he did not dare to resist. He was also controlled by someone. Luo Shi had already been beaten half to death by Mo Cheng. Yun Chujio curled her lips and said, Father, please stop beating her. Don't you want to interrogate an old acquaintance like second aunt? Mo Cheng's eyes were bloodshot. He raised his dagger and asked Zhang Hua, Tell me, how long have you been with this slut? What's with those two bastards? If you tell me the truth, I'll gouge out your eyes and cut out your tongue. Yun Chujio sneered inwardly. Those that were usually held in her hands would turn into bastards the moment they learned that they were not hers. This change in attitude was really fast. Zhang Hua was also a spineless person. If he had any backbone, he would not have allowed his child to call others father. He immediately confessed. Mo Cheng was about to go crazy from anger. He felt as though his head had turned into a vast grassland. Fuck, it was so green that he could not see the end of it. He had simply become the biggest joke in Fengli City. Mo Cheng was like a mad demon as he killed Zhang Hua immediately. Luo Shi knelt on the ground and begged for mercy, "Darling, for the sake of our many years of friendship, please spare me. I know I was wrong. From now on, I will eat vegetarian and pray to Buddha to escape into the void." Before Luo Shi could finish her sentence, she was killed by Mo Cheng. Mo Cheng seemed to have gone mad. After killing Luo Shi, he turned around and killed Mo Fenghua and Mo Junqian as well. Yun Chujiu watched coldly from the side. Leaving Luo Shi aside, Mo Fenghua and Mo Junqian had been calling Mo Cheng's father for more than a decade, yet they did not hesitate to kill him. How cold-blooded. Mo Xiaoting had no intention of stopping them. He already felt that Luo Shi was a scourge, so it was good to kill them. As for Mo Fenghua and Mo Junqian, since they were not the blood of the Mo family, it was not a pity to kill them. After killing the second master, Mo Cheng slumped to the ground, looking like he had suffered a huge blow. "The few of you, escort the second master back to the mansion." Mo Xiaoting ordered a few guards to get rid of Mo Cheng when he saw Mo Cheng's distracted expression. Mo Cheng stood up and glared at Yun Chujiu before leaving. Yun Chujiu twitched her lips. "You like to be cuckolded, are you blaming me?" After Mo Xiaoting killed Luo Pingsheng with one palm strike, the Luo family was left without a leader. They quickly died and the captives were captured. The Mo family was victorious. Mo Xiaoting's depression from the past few days was swept away. After daybreak, the first thing he did was to count the Luo family's assets. However, a strange thing happened. Luo Pingsheng's storage ring was missing. Mo Xiaoting was furious. At that time, he was so focused on cleaning up the mess that he did not even think about removing Luo Pingsheng's storage ring. He had been too careless. Oh, even if he wanted to look for it, there was no way he could find it. There were so many people who might have stolen it. It was even possible that a guard from the Luo family had taken it. He could only blame his bad luck. Fortunately, the Luo family's shops and properties were worth quite a bit of money. So, the person who stole the ring did not dare to take out the deed openly. When the time came, he would just have to make up for it. At most, he would only lose a few spirit stones and spiritual tools. Mo Xiaoting sighed. Meanwhile, one of the goods was secretly counting the spirit stones in the house with a big smile on his face. TSK, I never ask others for help when I can do it myself. I have to say, this Luo Pingsheng is really rich. Yun Chujia's little treasury was once again filled with money. It was simply too beautiful. After the Luo family's matter came to an end, Mo Peng and Mo Chang ran to Mo Xiaoting's study room with extra diligence. They were both drooling over the Luo family's shop and wanted to fight for a few more. Mo Xiaoting was extremely disappointed in them, so no matter how hard they tried to persuade him, he did not relent. As for Mo Cheng, perhaps he had suffered a huge blow, so he did not return to Jinchuan City. Instead, he spent most of his time drunk in the old Mo residence. Yun Chujiu secretly said to Mo Fengqin, "Third sister, now is the best opportunity for Auntie Chiu to rise to the top. If she can give birth to another fat boy, the day of your marriage will be just around the corner. Whether the two of you can turn the tables will depend on this one time. If you miss this opportunity, Mo Cheng will find a new wife. The two of you will be in deep trouble again." Mo Fengqin immediately ran over to Auntie Chiu's place and began to put on a bitter love scene. After persuading Mo Fengqin, Yun Chujiu hopped over to look for Mo Xiaoting. "Grandfather, how's the recruitment of talisman masters going?" "It's going well. After all, the price we offered is second to none in the Western continent." Mo Xiaoting found Yun Chujiu pleasing to the eye and was very amiable. "Has the Zhao family made any moves?" "Logically speaking, since we've destroyed the Luo family, they should have made some moves. Why haven't they made any moves? Yun Chuzhou asked in confusion. According to the spies, the Zhao family is doing as usual. They are probably waiting for Zhao Lizi's 100 days to pass before they do anything. Mo shouting guessed. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. She could roughly guess what the Zhao family was thinking. The Zhao family was already unhappy with the Luo family because of Zhao Lizi. Since the Luo family had already been destroyed, there was no point in them coming to interrogate them. So, it was better to wait for Zhao Lizi's 100th day to pass and marry her. As for the Mo family, it didn't matter to them. They could continue to cooperate with the talisman business. Grandfather, there are still nearly 3 months before Zhao Lizi's 100th day. I want to go to the Fallen Phoenix Forest to train. After all, I'm too weak right now, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Mo shouting frowned, Feng Chao, you have a heavenly lightning spiritual root. The higher your spiritual power, the stronger the power of the Tian Dao to kill you. You should stop training. Grandfather, training is against nature. It won't be easy for the Tian Dao to kill me. Besides, even if I don't train, I can't guarantee that the Tian Dao won't kill me. Why don't I increase my spiritual power so that I can withstand a few more bolts of lightning? Mo shouting noticed Yun Chuzhou's firm attitude and knew that even if he didn't agree, Yun Chuzhou would think of a way to get him to agree. So, why did he have to make her unhappy? Besides, if her spiritual power was higher, it would be good for the Mo family if she ever returned to the East Continent. Alright, since you insist, you must be extremely careful. Although there are many demonic beasts on the outskirts of the Fallen Phoenix Forest, it's not too dangerous. However, you must not go near the center of the Fallen Phoenix Forest. Why? Is it because the level of the demonic beasts inside is high? That's right. It is said that the center of the Fallen Phoenix Forest is the Nirvana land of the ancient divine Phoenix. It has a fatal attraction to fire-type demonic beasts. Many high-level demonic beasts gather inside, so it is extremely dangerous. Ah, is that so? Grandfather, don't worry. I am very afraid of death and will not enter, Yun Chuzhou said confidently. Okay, they'll send a team of guards to protect you. Yun Chuzhou was now Mo Xiaoding's money tree and military advisor. Mo shouting naturally cared about her safety. Grandfather, I'm going for a trial. If I bring so many people there, it won't be as effective as a trial. They'll just bring He Shi and the other 6. Besides, they'll just walk around the edges and won't encounter any powerful demonic beasts. Yun Chuzhou thought, what a joke. Why would I bring a bunch of spies to go for a trial? Mo shouting tried to persuade her, but seeing that Yun Chuzhou insisted, he had no choice but to let her be. After Yun Chuzhou returned, she gave Mo Fangqin a few instructions before heading towards Fallen Phoenix Forest the next day. Fallen Phoenix Forest was about 300 li away from Fengli City, so everyone boarded a flying spirit tool and headed towards Baili. On the flying spirit tool, He Shi and the others were staring at Yun Chuzhou until their hair stood on end. Small, miss, what do you have to order? He Shi braced himself to ask. Let me see if you have done me wrong. You may not know this, but I have a special gift for calculating. Otherwise, how do you think I knew Luo Shi had an old lover? I just figured it out. Yun Chuzhou was possessed by a fraud, I don't know. He Shi and the others naturally did not believe it. However, firstly, Yun Chuzhou was generous. Secondly, they were afraid of this fellow's black heart, so how would they dare to have any second thoughts? Furthermore, there was still that mysterious person. That person's spiritual energy was much higher than theirs. Only those who wanted to die would dare to betray this little ancestor. Yun Chuzhou saw that these people's eyes were open and did not feel guilty, then, she said with a smile, "Don't worry. As long as you follow me obediently, I guarantee that you will all be very awesome in the future. The Western continent is nothing. I want you all to be well-known figures in the Eastern continent in the future." He Shi and the others expressed their gratitude to show their loyalty, but they felt that Yun Chujia's bragging was too big. Forget about being well-known in the Eastern continent, even if they could go to the Eastern continent, it would be Amitabha. 2 hours later, the flying spirit tool landed on the periphery of the fallen phoenix forest. Yun Chujio jumped down from the flying spirit tool. She rolled up her sleeves and said, "When you encounter demonic beasts later, don't make a move. Let me do it. Do you hear me? I'm suffocating." The corners of He Shi and the others' mouths twitched. It wasn't a good thing. Who would snatch it from you? However, this little ancestor really did not know his limits. "You are only at the second level of the spiritual venerable realm, what are you trying to do? It would be difficult for you to deal with a 26th level demon beast, let's see if you let us help you then." Anfeng naturally followed them, but he flew his own flying spirit tool and followed behind them at a distance. Yun Chujio quickly encountered a 26th level single-horned wind-blade violent bull. This fellow smiled and waved at the single-horned wind-blade violent bull. "Little baby, you came at the right time. You can have roast beef for lunch." The single-horned wind-blade ox ran away. It was not afraid of Yun Chujio, but the 6 people behind her. "Oh, you want to run? Stop right there." Yun Chujio jumped up and struck the single-horned wind-blade ox with lightning. The lightning struck the single-horned wind-blade ox's tail. The single-horned wind-blade ox howled in pain. It turned around and threw a few wind blades at Yun Chujio. He Shi and the others grinned. They didn't know if this little ancestor could dodge it or not. They didn't want to get injured right away. Obviously, their worries were unnecessary. Yun Chujio leaped up. Not only did she dodge the wind blades, but she also threw a few lightning bolts at the single-horned wind-blade ox's horn. The man and the ox tangled together. Yun Chujio wanted to train her movement technique, so she didn't use her spiritual power materialization technique, nor did she use talisman. If this fellow used talisman, this single-horned wind-blade ox would have long become beef jerky. He Shi and the others were amazed. Although this little ancestor's spiritual power level was not high, her movement technique was really fast. No one knew how she practiced it. They watched the show with relish, but the single-horned wind-blade raging bull's heart collapsed. Damn it! This human girl's spiritual power was clearly not high, so why couldn't she be killed? She was so angry. 15 minutes later, the single-horned wind-blade ox was hacked by Yun Chujio until its body was covered in black smoke, and it was dead with resentment. Yun Chujio put her hands on her waist and said to He Shi, keep it for barbecue." He Shi complimented her a few times, and then put the single-horned wind-blade ox's corpse into his storage ring. Then, Yun Chujio killed a few more demonic beasts. Because they were now at the outermost area of the fallen phoenix forest, most of the demonic beasts they encountered were below level 27. Yun Chujio could easily deal with them even without using her spiritual power. He Shi and the others were very puzzled. This little ancestor was clearly only at level 2 of the Supreme Being realm, so how could she deal with level 27 demonic beasts so easily? This didn't make sense. Also, why didn't she use her spiritual power to materialize? Could it be that she didn't know how to? The first day of the trial passed without a single ripple. After breakfast the next day, Yun Chujio said, "Let's walk further in. The demonic beasts outside are too unchallenging." Although He Shi and the others felt that they would encounter demonic beasts above level 28 if they walked further in, it wouldn't be a problem for them to protect Yun Chujio. Therefore, they agreed without any objections. Yun Chujio still did not use her spiritual power to attack, but as the level of the demonic beasts increased, she became more and more exhausted. Soon, blood started to seep out from her clothes. He Shi and the others wanted to help, but Yun Chujio glared at them, indicating that she did not need their help. He Shi and the others could only watch from the side, preparing to help Yun Chujio when she was exhausted. However, they waited until the sky turned dark and did not see Yun Chujio running out of energy. The six of them could not help but look at each other. Damn, this little ancestor was too energetic. For the next 2 days, Yun Chujio fought with the demonic beasts. The clothes on her body were stained with blood. Some of them were hers and some of them were demonic beasts. However, she had never asked He Shi and the others for help. He Shi and the others gradually felt respect in their hearts. Even they might not be able to endure such an intense trial. This little ancestor was really tenacious. On the morning of the 5th day, Yun Chujio said to He Shi and the others, "Let's walk further inside." The demonic beasts on this level are no longer a challenge to me. Miss, there are demonic beasts above the 30th level. The 30th level is equivalent to the 9th level of the spiritual venerable realm for human cultivators. Can you do it? He Shi said carefully. The demonic beasts inside were becoming more and more ferocious. If they were in danger, they might not be able to save them in time. It's only interesting if there's a challenge. Besides, I haven't used my spiritual power materialization yet. I'll show you my spiritual power materialization technique in a while, Yun Chujio said with a smile. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, He Shi and the others could only follow her inside. They were very puzzled. They didn't know whether this little ancestor's spiritual power materialization technique was elementary, intermediate, or advanced. From her tone, it seemed like she was very powerful. What exactly was it? After walking for a while, they encountered a level 30 wind blade lion. Hey! Little cat, you came at the right time. Look at my little 9 thunder needles. Yun Chujio shot out several purple needles at the wind blade lion. He Shi and the others were dumbfounded. Not to mention that the lion and the cat were indistinguishable, the spiritual energy that you materialized was actually a needle. Oh my God! Is it because we are lacking in experience, or is this little ancestor's spiritual energy materialization too strange? How did he materialize a needle? This isn't a joke. No wonder this little ancestor did not use spiritual energy materialization. The spiritual energy needle that materialized was even inferior to the purple lightning. This spiritual power needle was only as thick as an embroidery needle. Even if the windblade lion did not dodge, it would be fine. This was simply too weak. The windblade lion clearly had the same thought. It felt that the human in front of it was simply too weak. It wanted to deal with this broken thing that was materialized. Dream on. The windblade lion rolled its huge eyeballs. Not only did it not dodge, but it pounced on the purple needle instead. It had a plan in its mind. Even if the spiritual energy needle hit its body, it would only scratch the itch. It would be better to take this opportunity to bite Yun Chujio to death. He Shi and the others saw the windblade lion pouncing towards Yun Chujio and immediately exclaimed, "Miss, quickly dodge." They did not expect Yun Chujio to not move at all. She stood in place and looked at the windblade lion with a smile. He Shi and the others' heads buzzed. The windblade lion was too close to Yun Chujio. It was too late for them to act now. Little ancestor, aren't you courting death? Could it be that you came to the fallen phoenix forest to commit suicide? Just as He Shi and the others were about to collapse, they heard several explosions mixed with the screams of the windblade lion. Everyone focused their eyes and saw that the windblade lion's body was constantly exploding. The Windblade Lion was rolling on the ground in pain. P-Gen-0 He Shi and the others felt that their heads were not enough. What was going on? Did the little ancestor use a talisman? They did not see her use it. Moreover, if she used a talisman, it would also start to explode from the outside. It was obvious that the Windblade Lion started to explode from the inside. What was going on? At this moment, Yun Chujio threw a few more purple spiritual needles at the Windblade Lion. As the purple spiritual needles pierced into the Windblade Lion's body, the sounds of explosions rang out continuously. He Shi and the others were dumbfounded. So the spiritual needles could explode? Fuck, wasn't this too abnormal? There was such a materialization technique? This was simply a sharp weapon that pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. Although this was a beginner-level materialization technique, its power was even more powerful than an intermediate-level materialization technique. While He Shi and the others were dumbfounded, Yun Chujio shot out several small purple needles at the eyes of the Windblade Mad Lion. Following the sound of the explosion, the Windblade Mad Lion died. After Yun Chujio put away the Windblade Mad Lion's corpse, she curled her lips and said, "This little cat actually doesn't know how to dodge. TSK, it's really too stupid." He Shi and the others thought to themselves, not to mention the Windblade Lion, even cultivators might not be able to dodge when they saw the spiritual needles you shot out. Who would have thought that this thing would explode? It was too much of a scam. In the next 2 days, Yun Chujio killed a few more demonic beasts. Most of the demonic beasts thought that Yun Chujio's spiritual needles were very weak and could not dodge at all, so they were easily hit. Yun Chujio felt that this was not challenging, so when she encountered a level 30 Windblade Mad Panther, it first shot a few spiritual energy needles at the big tree next to it. The Windblade Mad Panther could not help but wonder, is this human girl crazy? Why didn't she attack it and instead attack the tree next to it? Could it be that her eyesight was not good and that she was squinting? Just as the wild Windblade Leopard was thinking, it heard a few explosions coming from the side. Several large holes were blasted out from the big tree. If it wasn't for this iron core tree being hard, it would probably have been blown apart. "Kitten, did you see that? My little Joe's thunderbolt needle isn't as simple as it looks, so you have to be careful. Come on, let's hurt each other." Yun Chujio said with a smile. Only one thought flashed through He Shi and the others' minds. Are you fucking crazy? He Shi and the others were dumbfounded. What kind of trick is this little ancestor playing? This is the first time I've heard of him telling his trump card before a fight. Are you out of your mind? That Windblade Mad Panther was clearly confused as well. Didn't they say that humans were sinister and cunning? Why does this little girl seem to be not very smart? Yun Chujio saw the wild Windblade Panther standing there in a daze. She raised her voice and said, "Hey, little cat, could it be that my little 9 thunderbolt needles scared you silly? Are you going to fight or not? If you aren't going to fight, then obediently establish a temporary contract with me and become my mount." The wild Windblade Panther finally came back to its senses and thought, "Pooey. You are the cat, your whole family are cats. Being your mount, are you riding on the panther's butt? Shameless." The wild Windblade Panther howled and pounced towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio dodged as she said with a smile, "That's right. It's so interesting to hurt each other like this." Interesting? It should be sick. He Shi and the others watched the battle while silently cursing in their hearts. The wild Windblade Leopard was on guard against Yun Chujio's small needle of spiritual power, so it would use the wind blade to hit the small needle of spiritual power during the battle. However, in this way, although it would not be injured, its attack power would also be reduced by a lot. Therefore, the man and the leopard fought for a long time, but there was still no winner. In the blink of an eye, 4 hours had passed. Yun Chujio became more and more courageous as she fought. Kitten, you are indeed more powerful than the other demon beasts. Come, let's fight for 300 rounds. No one is allowed to leave until the winner is decided. The wild wind blade leopard was so tired that it panted heavily. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, its 4 legs went weak and it almost lay on the ground. Damn it, this stupid girl was not human at all. After fighting for so long, she was still so lively. It was simply killing the leopard. Another 2 hours passed. The wild wind-blade leopard laid on the ground helplessly and panted heavily. It was obvious that he was too tired to get up. Yun Chujio pursed her lips and said, "Kitten, aren't you too useless? It has only been a short while, and you can't fight anymore." The wild wind-blade leopard was about to break down. Just a short while. 6 hours and a short while. Whatever. This leopard can't fight anymore. Yun Chujio saw that the wild wind-blade leopard really couldn't fight anymore. She said with a smile, "Little cat, I see that your movements are quite agile. How about this, you stay and be my sparring partner. If you can beat me, I'll let you go. If you keep losing, I'll let you go when I'm tired of fighting." The wild wind-blade leopard was still gasping for air, but when it heard Yun Chujio's words, it fainted. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and turned to He Shi and the others. This kitten must have fainted from happiness. Come, let's roast meat. I'm hungry after playing for so long. Pian 0, cm He Shi and the others' eyes twitched violently. Fainted from happiness? Perhaps this wind-blade mad leopard felt that it had no more hope in life. Everyone started a bonfire and started to roast the meat. When the wind-blade mad leopard woke up, it smelled the aroma of the roasted meat. Its stomach began to growl uncontrollably, and the desire to eat instantly overcame the desire to escape. Yun Chujio saw that the wind-blade mad leopard had woken up, so she picked up a piece of roasted meat and threw it to it. Kitten, this is for you. The wild wind-blade leopard was a foodie. It was not afraid that Yun Chujio would drug the barbecued meat, so it began to munch on it. At this moment, the wild wind-blade leopard only had one thought. This barbecued meat was indeed better than raw meat. He Shi and the others saw that not only did the wind-blade mad leopard not run away, it even started to eat the roasted meat. They could only sigh at how demonic beasts were demonic beasts. No matter how delicious the roasted meat was, it was still not as important as its life. It was really stupid. Yun Chujio did not have that much roasted meat to feed the wind-blade mad leopard. She directly threw it a raw wind-blade mad cow's hind leg. Then, she said, "You stay and fight with me. I will provide you with food and drink. Before you leave, I will give you a few pills to stop the bleeding. How about it? This is a good deal." The wild wind-blade leopard rolled its huge eyes. Anyway, there was food and drink. It could also get the pills to stop the bleeding. Why not? Fuck. Seeing that the wild wind-blade leopard nodded in agreement, Yun Chujio nodded with satisfaction. "Since you agree, then we will continue to fight in an hour." He Shi and the others were dumbfounded. Humans and demonic beasts could still be traded. Oh God, such a thing was simply unheard of. This little ancestor was indeed a pervert. An hour later, Yun Chujio and the wild wind-blade leopard started fighting again. 6 hours later, the miserable wild wind-blade leopard collapsed to the ground again. This fellow regretted it. Oh my God. This was not a fight, this was the rhythm of exhausting the leopard to death. Sob, this leopard regretted it. However, when the aroma of the roasted meat spread again, this guy felt that it was not a big deal. If he was tired, so be it. This way, he could quickly increase his spiritual power. Therefore, in the next few days, the wild wind-blade leopard kept repeating the cycle of regret and no regret. Yun Chujio felt that the wild wind-blade panther was no longer challenging, so she said mercifully, "Kitten, you can go now." The wild wind-blade panther was a little confused. It didn't need to train with it anymore. Why did it suddenly feel like it was abandoned by the whole world? The wild wind-blade panther took the few super-grade blood coagulation pills that Yun Chujio handed to it and left reluctantly. Yun Chujio shouted behind it, "Hey, kitten, why don't you be my mount for a few more days?" He Shi and the others felt that the wild wind-blade leopard would definitely leave without looking back. After all, demonic beasts all advocated freedom, so how could they be willing to be a human mount? P-N0 Everyone's thoughts stopped abruptly when they saw the wild wind-blade leopard coming back. Well, not all demonic beasts had integrity. This guy was just trying to eat the shameless ones. In the next few days, Yun Chujio rode the wild wind-blade leopard and began to challenge around this area. Before the beasts fought each other, they would practice the power of the small spiritual needles before they started to fight. After beating the beasts until they were half dead, they didn't kill them. Instead, they waited until the beasts recovered their strength before they started the second round of fighting. It was an endless cycle until the beasts felt that it was no longer challenging, only then would they let go of the beast that was tormented so much that it wanted to commit suicide. Very quickly, all the demonic beasts in this area knew that a freaking pervert riding a leopard had come to the fallen phoenix forest. Fire, lightning, and pervert, they all hid from her. Hence, Yun Chujio tragically discovered that all the demonic beasts in this area had disappeared. What's going on? Where did all the demonic beasts go? Forget it, since there are no more demonic beasts in this area, let's go deeper in. Yun Chujio sat on the body of the wild wind-blade leopard and said while stroking her chin. Although He Shi and the others couldn't figure out the thoughts of the demonic beasts, they could still guess some of them. How dare you ask? Those demonic beasts must have fled with their families. With your fighting style, not to mention the demonic beasts, even humans would collapse, okay? Miss, the demonic beasts inside are all above level 31, at least equivalent to a human cultivator at the first level of the Lingxian realm. Although you can challenge those at a higher level, the gap between the Lingxian realm and the spiritual venerable realm is like a gully. You'd better not take the risk, He Shi advised earnestly. This is the only way to have a challenge. What's there to be afraid of? If not, I still have talismans. Blow it up. Kitten, don't go in. You'll probably be scared to death when you see those high-level demon beasts. Yun Chujio jumped down from the body of the wild wind-blade leopard, she patted the wild wind-blade leopard and said. Although the wild wind-blade leopard couldn't bear to barbecue meat, it was more afraid of the high-level demon beasts inside. It could only turn around and leave reluctantly. Little cat, if you want to eat barbecue meat, it'll give you an idea. Since you're still a single leopard, can't you just find a fire-type demon beast as your wife? Whenever you want to eat barbecue meat, just let your wife barbecue it for you. Yun Chujio shouted as she pulled her neck. The wild wind-blade leopard suddenly felt that it had opened the door to a new world. What the little girl said made sense. If I find a fire-type demon beast as my wife, everything will be solved. That's great. Thus, He Shi and the others saw the wild wind-blade leopard leave with 4 legs. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently. For the sake of a mouthful of roasted meat, they didn't even consider the difference in race. This might be the highest realm for foodies. Everyone continued to advance into the fallen phoenix forest, and very soon, they met a wild windblade bear. He Shi hurriedly said to Yun Chujio, Miss, although this wild windblade bear is a level 31 demon beast, its body is extremely strong and difficult to deal with. It's better if we work together to kill it. Yun Chujio waved her hand. I'll try it first. If it doesn't work, you guys can attack again. He sure could only give a few more instructions before he watched the battle from the side with fear. That wind-edge violent bear didn't put Yun Chujio and the others in its eyes at all. Although its spiritual power wasn't as high as He Shi and the others, its skin was thick and it had the geographical advantage. If it couldn't beat them, it would just run away. Unexpectedly, those people just stood by the side and didn't move. Instead, a little girl with the lowest spiritual power walked up and said with a smile, "Little bear, I see that your bones are very strange. You're a good sparring partner. Stay and be my sparring partner for a few days." The violent Windblade bear opened its eyes wide and didn't react for a long time. Was this little girl a lunatic or a fool? Little bear. Such a small one actually said it was small. Was there something wrong with its eyes? Also, what the hell was a sparring partner? This time, Yun Chujio didn't show off the small needles of spiritual power. While the violent Windblade bear was still in a daze, several small needles of spiritual power went straight for the violent Windblade bear. The violent Windblade bear obviously didn't care about the small needles of spiritual power either. It randomly used its claws to pull off a portion. Although the remaining small needles of spiritual power shot onto its body, they couldn't penetrate its hard fur at all. After the explosion, only a few tufts of its fur were burnt. He Shi and the others became even more worried when they saw this. It seemed that the small spiritual needles could deal with low-level demon beasts, but its effect on high-level demon beasts was really limited. They didn't know if this little ancestor could use the intermediate physical transformation technique. Oh, the violent Windblade bear saw that a few tufts of its fur had been burnt. It flew into a rage out of humiliation and threw a few huge wind blades at Yun Chujio. Although Yun Chujio had dodged the wind blades, she was in an extremely sorry state. A part of her hair had even been cut off. This fellow was furious. "Fuck. Little bear, how dare you touch my hair? If I don't shave you into a bald bear today, I won't be human." Bald bear. He Shi and the others were both anxious and angry. "Dear ancestor, you'd better save your little life first." Upon hearing this, the violent Windblade bear was also so angry that it howled in anger. "You little brat who overestimated yourself, I'll cut you into pieces." The Windblade leopard bear once again shot out a few wind blades at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio hurriedly dodged them. Although she dodged them, she was still in a very sorry state. This fellow could not help but sigh. The gap between the levels of spiritual power was indeed huge. No matter how fast one's movement technique was trained, it was still not enough without the assistance of spiritual power. The man and the bear fought together, and Yun Chujio was clearly at a disadvantage. The Windblade bear only needed to protect its weak parts, but Yun Chujio had to constantly dodge the wind blades of the Windblade bear, making her look very miserable. He Shi and the others stomped their feet anxiously, thinking to themselves, "Doesn't our little ancestor have a talisman seal and some chili dough? Why didn't she use it? When will she stop hiding like this?" Of course, Yun Chujio knew that using the talisman seal and chili dough would make her life a lot easier. However, those were life-saving methods that she had no choice but to use. Now that it was a trial, she didn't need to use them if she could. Seeing that Yun Chujio was being forced into a sorry state by it, the violent Windblade bear howled arrogantly, full of provocation. "Little bear, do you really think that I can't beat you? It seems that I have to release my spiritual beast." Yun Chujio curled her lips and said. He Shi and the other spirits were lifted. So this little ancestor could transform into a spiritual beast. It was just that they didn't know what kind of flying beast she transformed into. When the violent Windblade bear heard Yun Chujio's words, it also raised its vigilance. What was this brat's spiritual beast? From what she said, it seemed to be very powerful. It was better to be careful. Yun Chujio raised her hand, and a cute little piglet of spiritual power pounced towards the violent Windblade Bear. Whether it was He Shi and the others or the violent Windblade Bear, they were all dumbfounded. What she transformed into was actually a pig. And a piglet? What kind of joke was this? What kind of attack power could this piglet have? Could it be that it was planning to kill its enemies with cuteness? The violent Windblade Bear waved its bare paw disdainfully, trying to disperse the spiritual energy piglet. Unexpectedly, the spiritual energy piglet firmly clung onto his bare paw with its pig trotter and took a bite. Although the bare paw of the violent Windblade Bear was tough and thick, it was still in pain after being bitten by the piglet. It quickly shook and pulled the piglet, finally breaking it apart. He Shi and the others frowned. Although this spiritual energy piglet still seemed to have a bit of offensive power, once the violent Windblade Bear was prepared, it would be useless to use the wind blades to attack it. The violent Windblade Bear obviously thought so too. It rolled its eyes in disdain and threw a few wind blades at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio bared her white teeth at the violent Windblade Bear. Spiritual Piglet number 1, number 2. Number 20, attack together. He Shi and the others' mouths twitched. What was that? Number 1. Number 2. Number 20. Stop joking. This spiritual piglet should be a high-level physical transformation technique. Since it was a high-level physical transformation technique, how could there be 2? Not to mention 20. Then, a scene that they would never forget for the rest of their lives appeared. Fuck. They saw an endless stream of spiritual piglets pouncing towards the wind blades. What was even more shocking was that the spiritual piglets actually began to devour the wind blades. Oh my god. The figures of the spirit piglets actually became more corporeal. This meant that they were actually able to absorb the spirit energy of the wind blades for their own use. This was too inconceivable. He Shi and the others were dumbfounded. The violent Windblade Bear was also dumbfounded. Oh my god, this little girl is too strange. How could she conjure so many spiritual beasts? Moreover, these spiritual beasts could actually devour its wind blades for their own use. It was too abnormal. The violent Windblade Bear was also too shocked. Logically speaking, you are in a fight, you are not here to watch the show, you should pay more attention. This fellow, on the other hand, stared at the spiritual piglets with his big eyes and didn't move at all. Those spiritual piglets were very smart, and a few of them pounced on the violent Windblade Bear. The violent Windblade Bear only reacted when it felt pain, and began to use its bare paw to hit the spiritual piglets on its body. The other spiritual piglets also pounced on the violent Windblade Bear when they saw this. Some bit their ears, some bit their nose, and some bit their tails. The Windblade Bear was in pain and anxious. Its wind blades could only be used to attack from a distance. It could only use its paws to hit the bear and even roll on the ground. Yun Chujio could have used her spiritual needles to attack the Windblade Bear's weak parts and take its life. However, it wanted to keep it as a sparring partner, so it used purple lightning to strike the Windblade Bear's big head. The Windblade Bear was really unlucky. A few tufts of its fur had been bitten off by the spiritual piglets, and black smoke kept coming out of its big head. It was in a very sorry state. The Windblade Bear was so angry that it gnashed its teeth. However, it felt that after this wave of spiritual piglets dissipated, Yun Chujio could not release another wave immediately. At that time, it would use this opportunity to kill Yun Chujio. Unexpectedly, once the spiritual power piglets dissipated, Yun Chujio would immediately release new spiritual power piglets to replace them. There were still 20 spiritual power piglets on the violent windblade bear's body that were biting it. A moment later, Yun Chuzhou took out a basin of water from her storage ring and threw it at the violent windblade bear. Then, she giggled and said, "Little bear, how is it? Do you feel cool? I'm a man of my words. You are now a bald little bear." Ha ha ha. Oh, the violent windblade bear touched its head with its paw and indeed, it became naked. It was so angry that it roared and pounced on Yun Chuzhou. It was so angry that it was going to go crazy. It did not care if it still had the piglet of spiritual power on it. Anyway, it would not be able to bite it to death in a short time. It would first kill this stupid girl. Yo, little bear, are you very satisfied with your new hairstyle? Since you like it so much, how do you feel if I shave all your fur? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yun Chuzhou jumped up and down as she dodged. She said with a smile. Surprise, my ass. The violent wind blade bear was so angry that it forgot to use the wind blade. It roared and chased after Yun Chuzhou. It only had one thought in its mind, and that was to kill Yun Chuzhou to get rid of its shame. Damn it, there was no way to see a beast anymore. In tens of thousands of years, it was the first demon beast to have its head shaved off. It was hopeless. Yun Chuzhou was running while mumbling, "Little bear, you don't have to thank me too much. The thing I like to do the most is to help others." "Ah, no, it's to help beasts. Little bear, how nice is this bald head? Isn't there a good saying? A smart head doesn't have hair. This bald head is a symbol of wisdom. Besides, it's not as cool as having hair. It can even be illuminated at night. It's simply a good thing to kill two birds with one stone." 2 hours later, the windblade violent bear's huge body crashed to the ground, and it actually fainted out of anger. He Shi and the others' faces were stiff. To be able to make a demonic beast faint out of anger was probably unprecedented. This was too abnormal. In fact, the violent windblade bear was not completely angered by Yun Chuzhou. It was huge, and after chasing Yun Chuzhou for so long, its physical strength was somewhat exhausted. In addition, although the little piglet's bite was not fatal, it gathered a lot of spiritual energy. It also lost a lot of blood, and coupled with the anger attacking its heart, it fainted. Seeing that the violent windblade bear fainted, Yun Chuzhou walked in front of it and pouted. No wonder people say that stupid bears are stupid bears. This bear is really stupid. I didn't say anything, why did it faint from anger? Its ability to resist pressure is too weak. He Shi and the others lit a candle for the violent windblade bear. It could not escape from the little pervert's claws. After a while, the wind-edge bear woke up and saw Yun Chuzhou saying with a smile, "Little bear, come, let's continue fighting for 300 rounds. The wind-edge bear remembered its bald head and looked at the spots on its body. It roared and pounced on Yun Chuzhou. The man and the bear started fighting again. This time, the wind-edge leopard bear had learned its lesson. When Yun Chuzhou released the piglet of spiritual power, it used the wind blade to hit and dodge at the same time to prevent the piglet of spiritual power from getting close to it. It thought that if that was the case, Yun Chuzhou would not be able to do anything to it. It did not expect Yun Chuzhou to have a small needle of spiritual power. Although the small needle of spiritual power was not enough to kill it, it would burn off a small tuft of its fur after it exploded. The windblade bear saw that the fur on its body was becoming less and less, and it was on the verge of collapse. This bear does not want to run naked. This bear does not want to run naked. Another 2 hours passed, and the violent windblade bear fainted on the ground again. This time, it was even worse than the last time, with only 1/3 of its fur remaining. It was simply too horrible to look at. He Shi and the others silently made up their minds. They absolutely could not offend this little ancestor. This fellow was really too abnormal. After the violent Windblade Bear woke up this time, it did not pounce on Yunchujio. Instead, it staggered and turned around to run. It could not beat her, but it could not avoid her. This wretched girl was too perverted. If it continued to fight, the last bit of fur on its body would be burned away by her. Yunchujio looked at its back and said faintly, "Little bear, I have a hair growth pill here. After applying it, I guarantee that you will grow a new body of fur in 3 days. Do you want it?" The violent Windblade Bear's heart sank into a painful dilemma. In the end, it came back obediently because it really did not want to run naked. If this image was seen by other female bears, God! It could only be a bachelor for the rest of its life. Hey Sure and the others lit a candle for the violent Windblade Bear. It was indeed a stupid bear. Did you think that this little pervert's medicinal pill was so easy to obtain? Just you wait and regret it. As expected, in the next 2 days, the violent Windblade Bear became Yunchujio's sparring partner. The last bit of fur on its body was burned away, and it completely became a bare-bottomed bear. The Wind-Edge Bear wanted to cry, but it had no tears. Unfortunately, it had already boarded the pirate ship, so it could only hope that Yunchujio was not lying to it, and that in the end, she could really give it the hair-growing pill. On the morning of the 3rd day, Yunchujio took out 2 bottles of hair-growing pills and said to Hey Sure and the others, "You guys apply this hair-growing pill on the bear, or else it will be a waste of its clumsy hands." Hey Sure and the others felt as if their hearts were going to explode. Apply hair-growing pills on the violent Windblade Bear? Oh, what a joke! What if the violent Windblade Bear became violent and attacked them? Don't worry, little bear is a good bear that keeps its word. It won't attack you. Besides, don't you still have me? If it dares to be disobedient, I will kill it, Yunchujio said confidently. Hey Sure and the others saw that Yunchujio's attitude was firm, so they could only start to apply the hair growth pill to the violent Windblade Bear with tears flowing down their faces. They had never dreamed of this scene, it was simply too weird. The violent Windblade Bear was also confused at this moment. Demonic beasts instinctively rejected humans, not to mention letting people get so close to them. However, in order not to run naked, it could only endure it. Finally, Hey Sure and the others finished applying hair-growing pills. Their foreheads were covered in cold sweat. What a joke! This was similar to pulling teeth from a tiger's mouth. Only the little ancestor could make such an absurd decision. Then, why did Yunchujio do this? Firstly, it was rare for this fellow to have a conscience. He felt that the Windblade Violent Bear was a little miserable. It was originally a majestic demonic beast, but now that it had been burned into a bare-bottomed bear by her, it was better to apply the hair growth pill on it. Secondly, she also wanted to take the opportunity to test if Hey Sure and the others were completely obedient to her orders. Little bear, you can leave now. Don't worry. In less than 3 days, your hair will grow back. I guarantee that it will be thicker than your original hair. Isn't there a saying that goes, if the old doesn't go, the new won't come? The violent Windblade Bear covered its ears and ran away as if it was flying. It didn't want to listen to the nonsense. Yunchujio saw that the violent Windblade Bear had run far away and sighed. This sparring partner has run away. I still have to think of a way to catch another one. Hey Sure and the others mourned for the demonic beasts in this area for half an hour. The little ancestor was going to harm the demonic beasts again. As expected, the demonic beasts in this area would be in bad luck for the next period of time. Regardless of whether they were willing or not, in the end, Yunchujio would use all kinds of methods to coerce them into submission. They would only be released after 2 days as sparring partners. He Shi and the others were surprised to find that Yun Chujia's progress was extremely fast. Although she had not leveled up, with the rapid improvement in her movement techniques and fighting experience, she was actually becoming more and more proficient in dealing with level 31 demonic beasts. 10 days later, Yun Chujio once again proposed to go deeper. He Shi knew that it was useless to persuade her, so he could only fearfully go deeper into the depths of 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 the depths. When Yun Chujio encountered the demonic beasts again, she no longer acted willfully. She no longer hid anything and went all out to fight the demonic beasts. Occasionally, when she was defeated, He Shi and the others would come forward to help. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days had passed. Yun Chujio felt that it was about time. It had been nearly a month and a half in total. It was time to return to the Mo residence to take a look. Just as Yun Chujio was about to suggest returning, she suddenly realized that the fallen phoenix forest seemed to be a little hotter than before. He Shi and the others also noticed this problem and said one after another, "Strange, why is it suddenly getting hotter?" "Yeah, and it's getting hotter and hotter. There are no volcanoes in this fallen phoenix forest, so why is it suddenly getting hotter?" "Oh right, isn't it rumored that this fallen phoenix forest is the nirvana land of the phoenix? Could it be that something happened in the center?" Yun Chujio was about to speak when the excited voice of the little black bird sounded in her mind, "Master! Master! My chance to become stronger has finally arrived. Quick! Quick! Take me to the central area, there are good things there." Xiao Hanio's voice sounded in Yun Chujio's mind. Yun Chujio was so angry that she was twitching. "You dumbass! Are you brainless? There are high-level demonic beasts in there, wouldn't I be courting death if I go in?" "Master, you have the fire-repelling pearl on you, so you don't have to be afraid no matter how hot it is. Besides, don't you have the shadow escape talisman that the old fox gave you? Didn't you still have some time left last time? Let's go in secretly and run away immediately after stealing the things. It will definitely be fine." Xiao Hanio said anxiously. "Bullshit. There is only a total of 15 minutes left. I wouldn't be able to go in and come out in time even if I was flying legs." Yun Chujio was so angry that she kept twitching. Master, don't you still have a few hundred sacks of sudden rupture talismans? What's there to be afraid of? At most, they'll just blow them up. Master, I've risked my life with you. I learned crow call for you. I was kicked by a gigolo because of you. I did it for you, enough. Stop it. They'll go in, alright? Their spiritual pets are helpers. I fucking raised an ancestor." Yun Chujio could not stand the little black bird's nagging and could only compromise. The little black bird immediately said obsequiously, "Master, Master, you are indeed a peerless beauty, the city-toppling Xiao Hanio. I really love you to death. Don't worry, when I become stronger, they'll definitely help you torture the scum. When the time comes, when there are more enemies, you just need to stand at the back and leave the rest to me." Hearing the little black bird's words, Yun Chujio felt a little more comfortable. It made sense. If Xiao He became stronger, it could be considered an extra help when they encountered strong enemies in the future. He Shi and the others wait outside the fallen phoenix forest. "I need to go in and take care of something," Yun Chujio said to He Shi and the others. He Shi and the others thought they heard wrong. "Miss, what did you say?" Yun Chujio said it again, but He Shi immediately stopped her. "No. Miss, you are courting death. The demonic beasts inside are very high level. Not to mention you, even your mysterious expert will die if he goes in." The other 5 people also agreed, "Miss, you can't be stupid. The demonic beasts inside are not only very high level, but they are all fire-type demonic beasts. They are very brutal. Miss, besides, the temperature has suddenly increased. Something must have happened inside. Maybe it's the eruption of the Earth's magma or something. If you go in, it's almost certain death. Seeing the anxious attitude of everyone, Yun Chujio was satisfied. These 6 people were really not bad, she smiled and said, I know what you're saying. Do you think I'm an idiot who doesn't have a brain? I naturally have my reasons. You can just wait outside. If anyone asks about my whereabouts, just say that we got separated. Don't say anything else. He Shi and the others tried to persuade Yun Chujio for a while until Yun Chujio turned hostile. Then, they turned around and left. Little lunatic, you should leave too. I have the fire-repelling pearl and talisman on me to protect myself. Besides, I still have 5 puppets. If you follow me, you'll have to divert my attention to take care of you. It's too troublesome. Yun Chujio said to Anfeng, who was jumping over. Anfeng was in a dilemma. Of course, he was worried about Yun Chujio going in alone. However, he knew that what Yun Chujio said was the truth. Although his spiritual power level was not bad now, however, he might not have as many life-saving methods as Yun Chujio. Miss Jiu, how about this? I'll escort you for a while. When we reach the most central area, I won't go in. Anfeng thought of a compromise. If Yun Chujio was really in danger, he could at least get closer. That's good too. Keep these talismans, just in case. Yun Chujio passed a few sacks of super-grade burst talismans to Anfeng. The corner of Anfeng's eyes twitched. The first few sacks of super-grade burst talismans he took out were probably this ancestor in front of him. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Anfeng kept the talisman and accompanied Yun Chujio to the depths of fallen phoenix forest. The deeper they went, the higher the temperature. Anfeng's clothes were soaked in sweat, but Yun Chujio was fine. Occasionally, she was in the mood to pick wild fruits and eat them. Anfeng could not help but curse in his heart. Evildoers were indeed evildoers. Little lunatic, they'll give you something good. I guarantee that you won't be hot anymore. Seeing that Anfeng was extremely hot, Yun Chujio took out a bead made from Guai Chao and handed it to Anfeng. Anfeng immediately felt a cool sensation when he held it in his hand. He could not help but click his tongue in wonder. Although Miss Jiu was a disaster-prone person, she really had a lot of treasures on her. Anfeng released the pressure on his body, and many demon beasts avoided him. The two of them traveled smoothly and soon arrived at the center of fallen phoenix forest. The plants and trees here were also different from those in the outer area. They were all heat-resistant species, and even the soil on the ground was crimson red. Little lunatic, just wait for me here. Anyway, we have a voice transmission talisman, so we can contact each other at any time, Yun Chujio said to Anfeng in a low voice. P-Gen-0 Anfeng could only nod his head and give some instructions. Then, he jumped onto a thick tree and waited. Yun Chujio did not immediately activate the Shadow Escape Talisman. She still had to save this thing to save her life, so she decided to take a look first. The strange thing was that after Yun Chujio had walked for almost an hour, she did not encounter a single demon beast. This area was very quiet, and there was even a bit of strangeness to it. Yun Chujio felt even more uneasy. If something was abnormal, there must be a demon. Something must have happened, and it might be related to the thing that Xiao He was looking for. After walking for a while, there were faint roars of beasts and cries of demonic birds. Moreover, there were quite a number of them. Could it be that the demonic beasts and demonic birds had gathered together? Were they having a meeting? Yun Chujio was even more cautious. Finally, she saw many demonic beasts gathered in front of her through the gaps in the trees. There were also many demonic birds on the branches. Yun Chujio suddenly remembered a very important question. She scolded Xiao Hanio, "Xiao Hei, you idiot. The Shadow Escape Talisman is only useful for demonic beasts below level 37. The demonic beasts here are definitely more than level 37. What's the use of this damn thing?" Xiao Hanio was scolded until it shrunk its neck, it rolled its bean-like eyes and said, "Master, I was indeed careless in this matter. However, you are such a smart person, how can you use the Shadow Escape Talisman?" As long as you use your intelligence, you will definitely be safe and sound. Master, I believe in you. Bah! Flattery is useless. Is the thing inside really important to you? It is very, very important. Obtaining that thing is equivalent to me cultivating for at least 1,000 years, Xiao Hanio said seriously. Alright, since that's the case, I'll go all out. If I die, you won't be able to recover either. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and said. The scourge lives for 10,000 years. Master, you'll definitely be fine. Xiao Hanio flapped its short wings and said obsequiously. Get lost. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and no longer deliberately hit her figure. She swaggered forward. Soon, some demonic birds and beasts noticed Yun Chujio, but for some reason, they did not attack Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat, and she continued to hop forward. One after another, the demonic birds and beasts issued warnings, but Yun Chujio continued to hop forward as if she did not hear them. Finally, Yun Chujio walked to the front of the group of demonic beasts and widened her eyes in surprise. Who would have thought that in the middle of fallen Phoenix Forest, there was actually a deep pit? A huge deep pit. Around the deep pit stood dozens of high-level demon beasts. On the trees around the deep pit, there were also dozens of high-level demon birds. Although Yun Chujio had never eaten pork before, she had seen pigs run before. In Mo Xiaoting's study room, she had seen pictures of demon beasts from the Immortal Essence continent. The lowest level of these demon beasts was at least level 37. Yun Chujio's first reaction was not fear, but relief. Damn, it was a good thing she didn't use the Shadow Escape Talisman. It would be a waste if she used it. This fairy was really smart. The demonic beasts and birds were originally focused on the deep pit, but when they saw Yun Chujio, the uninvited guest, they were both confused and angry. What was this little ant doing here? How did she come here safe and sound? However, these demonic beasts and birds were obviously afraid of something. Although they were all staring at Yun Chujio with vicious eyes, none of them came to attack her. Hi, good afternoon, my lords. I'm really sorry. I got lost and came to take a look when I saw the bustle here. Don't worry about me. Do what you need to do. I'm just here to watch the show. Yun Chujio waved her claws, she said with a smile. Was this little ant crazy? Was there something wrong with this little ant's head? Was this little ant a fool? That was the first thought that flashed through the minds of the demon beasts present. Although they wished that they could slap her to death, they couldn't afford to lose too much because of a small loss. Therefore, they no longer paid attention to Yun Chujio and turned their gazes to the deep pit again. Yun Chujio touched her chin. Excuse me. Let me take a look at the front. I came all the way here. If I can't see anything, wouldn't I have wasted my time coming here? As Yun Chujio spoke, she squeezed through the gap between the two demonic beasts to the front. This fellow was really bold. She was certain that these demonic beasts did not have the time to pay attention to her. Yun Chujio squeezed to the front and stretched her neck to look into the deep pit. The diameter of the deep pit was a few thousand zhang. The walls of the pit were red from some unknown roasting. Although there were beads of guai chow on her body, she still felt that the heat wave was threatening. This fellow looked at the bottom of the pit, but there was nothing. He could not help but twitch his lips. It seemed that the treasure had not appeared yet. It was early. Even when the sky gradually darkened, there was still no change at the bottom of the pit. This fellow was hungry. This fellow took out a 10,000-year-old mysterious iron chain and fixed a wind-blade beef leg on it. Then, he began to roast the beef leg in the deep pit. Those demonic birds and demonic beasts looked at him with a dumbfounded expression. They were even more certain that this little ant was mentally ill. Didn't she know that they could kill her effortlessly? Didn't she know that the temperature of the deep pit was extremely high? If she wasn't careful, she would be burnt to ashes if she fell into it. She was actually roasting the beef by the side. Her heart was really big. However, as time passed, these thoughts became, it wasn't like she had never eaten this wind blade beef before. Why did this little girl roast it so well? Yun Chujio felt that it should be cooked, so she pulled the beef leg up. As expected, the color of the roast was golden, and it was very tempting. Yun Chujio took out a small wooden table and a small stool and began to eat the roast meat slowly. As she ate, she smacked her lips. Delicious, it's really too delicious. The roast meat from this pit is more fragrant than wood. Those demonic beasts and demonic birds had been waiting here for 2 days. They were all afraid of missing the best opportunity, so how could they dare to be distracted and eat? They were all high-level demonic beasts, so it wouldn't be a problem for them to starve for dozens of days. Initially, they didn't think much of it, but when they smelled the aroma of the roasted meat and heard Yun Chujio mumbling, their stomachs immediately started growling. These demonic beasts all had some captured demonic beast corpses in their own space. Some of them couldn't help but start eating as well. Some of them took the lead. The rest of the demonic beasts thought that it was impossible for such a coincidental treasure to appear at this time, so they all began to eat as well. Alright, the situation that was originally waiting for them turned into a group feast in an instant. Some of the beasts stared at Yun Chujio. This little ant must be delicious. Why not eat her? Just as the beasts were about to take action, they heard Yun Chujio say with a smile, "If any of you dare to attack me, I will pour water into it." The treasure you want won't like water, right? As Yun Chujio said that, she poured a basin of water into an empty space beside her. The temperature of the ground was too high, and the water quickly turned into steam as it splashed onto the ground. As soon as Yun Chujio did that, the demonic beasts began to roar at the restless demonic beasts, and the demonic beasts had no choice but to suppress the thought of eating Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Do you think that I ran to the front to suffer for no reason? This is a place with good feng shui. Firstly, if a treasure appears, it's easy to get it. Secondly, if it really doesn't work, it'll jump in. Anyway, with the beads of guai chow and the fire-repelling bead, I'm not afraid even if there's lava in there. Pa N0, just as Yun Chujio was thinking proudly, Lai Yen suddenly burst into flames in the deep pit. A raging fire actually rose up. This fellow was frightened. Fortunately, she had already activated the fire-repelling bead. Otherwise, she would have been burned to ashes. Then, she looked at the demonic birds and demonic beasts who were all staring at the flames excitedly. Their eyes were filled with greed. Yun Chujio could not help but be puzzled. She did not see anything strange about the flames. Was there a need to be so excited? Could it be that there was a treasure in these flames? Would the treasure appear after the flames were extinguished? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. If the treasure appeared, she would definitely not be able to snatch it away from these demonic beasts unless she found another way. This fellow gritted his teeth. Since he had the fire-repelling pearl on him, he was not afraid of the flames. Since that was the case, he would go into the flames. That way, he would be able to gain the upper hand. Yes, that was the plan. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio summoned the chopping board and jumped into the deep pit. The demonic beasts were stunned. There was indeed something wrong with this little girl's head. She actually jumped into the fire to commit suicide. Yun Chujio stood on the chopping board and kept falling. Finally, she landed at the bottom of the deep pit. Xiao Hanyo couldn't wait to get out of the spiritual beast bag, so Yun Chujio let it out. Master, it's that bead. Ha ha ha. I was right. There really is an ancient phoenix's nirvana bead here. Xiao Hanyo said excitedly. Yun Chujio was so angry that she grabbed its short wings. You idiot. You were wrong. If this wasn't some bullshit nirvana pearl, wouldn't I have risked my life for nothing? Xiao Hanyo blinked her eyes guiltily. Master, I didn't guess wrong. Let's settle the score in the future, wait until I swallow that pearl first. Although Yun Chujio wished that she could give Xiao Hanyo a good beating, she also knew that now was not the time to settle the score, so she asked, what exactly is that bullshit nirvana bead? What is its use? Master, when an adult phoenix is bathing in fire for nirvana, the surrounding soil will be roasted by the nirvana fire. The soil will absorb part of the nirvana chi, and after tens of thousands of years of absorbing the spiritual chi, it will produce a nirvana bead. Xiao Hanyo said excitedly. After the fire-type demon beast swallowed the nirvana pearl, it would be extremely beneficial to its cultivation. Even if it was in a place without spiritual chi, it could still rely on the fire spiritual chi in the nirvana pearl to cultivate. This is similar to the 3 troublesome things in my dantian. Are you sure this bead won't be like them? Yun Chujio asked Xiao Hanyo worriedly. It won't be. The nirvana bead contains the fire of the phoenix. It's impossible for it to produce a weapon spirit, Xiao Hanyo said proudly while glaring at Qi Ling. Then how do you get that pearl? Do you want me to throw you out? Yun Chujio picked up Xiao Hanyo's short wings with ill intentions. Xiao Hanyo shook its head like a rattledrum. What a joke. If it wanted to get out, it would have to become a bald chicken. Master, put me down. I will form a seal to lure the nirvana pearl over and swallow it. Yun Chujio pouted and released Xiao Hanyo's short wings. Xiao Hanyo began to form a seal with its wings. It even made an obscure sound. As Xiao Hanyo formed seals and chanted, a bright red bead flew towards Xiao Hanyo from within the flames. Xiao Hanyo swallowed the bead in one gulp. As the bead was swallowed by Xiao Hanyo, the flames in the deep pit gradually began to extinguish. Yun Chujio now faced a serious problem. How was she going to face those high-level demon beasts that were eyeing her like a tiger eyeing its prey? Could it be that the nirvana bead was swallowed by my spiritual pet and all of you should wash up and sleep? Yun Chujio felt that the matter was a little tricky. It seemed that she could only rely on her eloquent tongue to fool them. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio looked at Xiao Hanyo. There was nothing unusual about Xiao Hanyo. It only burped continuously. Yun Chujio curled her lips. She was not afraid of settling accounts. She would deal with you when she went back. Yun Chujio put the little black bird into her spiritual beast pouch and flew up on the chopping board. As she flew, she shouted, Xiao Hanyo, don't burn yourself. Those demonic beasts were stretching their necks and staring at the deep pit. The flames were gradually extinguishing. This meant that the nirvana pearl was about to appear. When they heard Yun Chujio's shout, they were shocked. That little ant was not burned to death. How was this possible? There was a raging fire in the deep pit. The demonic beasts were on guard against each other. None of them took the initiative to attack Yun Chujio, so Yun Chujio landed safely on the ground. This guy wanted to ride on the chopping board, but considering the demonic birds on the tree, he gave up the idea. Those demonic birds were huge, and one wing could probably knock her off. After Yun Chujio landed on the ground, she said with a face full of fear, "Damn. It's too scary. There's a red bead in the pit, and it almost burned me to death." When the demonic beasts heard the red bead, they immediately looked at the bottom of the pit. They looked for a long time but did not see the so-called red bead. Many demonic beasts roared at Yun Chujio, full of warning. Yun Chujio spread her hands. "Why are you staring at me?" The red bead was taken away by a strange-looking demonic beast. Right, it dug a hole at the bottom of the pit. Let me think. The demonic beast had red fur all over its body, and it looked similar to the fire-breathing panther. Its eyes were like rubies, and it was very beautiful. When the demonic beasts heard Yun Chujio's description, they immediately guessed. Could it be a fire essence beast? It must be. Only fire spirit beasts could withstand the high temperature below, and they were good at digging holes. However, there were still many demonic beasts that looked suspiciously at Yun Chujio. This little girl was even more suspicious, perhaps she was a thief shouting to catch a thief. The demonic beasts all roared at Yun Chujio with warning. The meaning was self-evident, that was to hand over the Nirvana Pearl or else kill her. Yun Chujio said innocently, "Why are you staring at me? Are you suspecting that I stole that pearl? I don't lack money, what use do I have for that broken pearl?" The demonic beasts thought that it made sense. That pearl could only be absorbed by fire-type demonic beasts, so it was indeed useless to this little ant. "Everyone, you might as well go down and take a look if you want to interrogate me. Maybe that monster didn't run far," Yun Chujio said loudly. One of the demonic birds heard her words and flapped its wings and flew down to the bottom of the pit. The other demonic birds were afraid that the demonic bird would beat them to it, so they also flew down one after another. The space at the bottom of the pit was limited. These demonic birds kept colliding with each other. The Nirvana bead didn't notice it, but a few of the demonic birds started fighting. They kept making angry cries, and a layer of bird feathers fell from the bottom of the pit. Yun Chujio secretly looked at the surrounding trees. She thought that with so many demonic birds, she could take the opportunity to escape on the chopping board. She did not expect that there were still a few demonic birds that did not move at all, staring at her coldly. Yun Chujio could not help but curse in her heart. Damn it, the remaining few were all at level 40. Indeed, the higher the spiritual power of the demonic beasts, the smarter they were. How could they escape? Although some demon beasts were deceived by Yun Chujio, there were still quite a number of demon beasts staring at Yun Chujio. They all felt that the Nirvana Pearl was most likely taken by this little ant. The reason why they did not make a move was because they were afraid of other demon beasts. They were all observing the situation. Therefore, although Yun Chujio was temporarily safe, it was almost impossible for her to leave this place. Yun Chujio used the tactic of not moving when the enemy didn't move. Not only did she not run away, she even lazily took out a chair and sat there. She crossed her legs and slowly said, "Usually, it is very difficult to see so many high-level demonic beasts. Today, I have really learned a lot. I have nothing else to do for the time being. I will stay here and wait for you to catch the thief who stole the bead to prove my innocence." When the demon beasts saw Yun Chujio saying this, they were also a little uncertain. If the Nirvana bead was taken by this little ant, shouldn't she run away quickly? How could she be so calm? Could it be that the fire essence beast really stole the Nirvana bead? The demon beasts fighting below finally flew up and chirped. It meant that there was no trace of the fire essence beast below. A wild explosive bull could not hold back its anger. It walked in front of Yunchujio and stomped on the ground with its huge hooves. A crack instantly appeared on the ground. It was obviously warning Yunchujio. Yunchujio sneered in her heart. These demonic beasts were on guard against each other. As long as she did not run away, no demonic beasts would dare to really attack her. Therefore, she glanced at the wild explosive bull. "Sir Bull, it won't help even if you stomp this place down. It's not like I took the bead. How can I give you a bead?" The wild bull roared a few times and raised its front hooves as if it wanted to step on Yunchujio. Yunchujio didn't move at all and looked as if she could do whatever she wanted. The wild bull was at its wit's end. It grunted a few times and retreated in embarrassment. Yunchujio was very proud. "Little girl, let's just waste time. Sooner or later, I will find a chance to escape." Yunchujio's pride didn't last more than 15 minutes before it was extinguished by the anxious cries of Xiao Hanyo. "Master! Master! Let me out quickly. I'm going to spontaneously combust. If you don't let me out, Xiao Hong and the others will be burned to death." Yunchujio was so angry that she almost passed out. Once the Xiao Hanyo was released, only a fool would not be able to guess that the Nirvana Pearl was swallowed by it. However, she could not release it. Otherwise, Xiao He and the rest would be in trouble. Yunchujio had no choice but to summon the Xiao Hanyo. At the same time, she held 2 thick stacks of super-grade explosive talismans in her hands. She was prepared to explode it if the situation was not good. PN0 The moment the Xiao Hanyo landed on the ground, it turned into a small fireball. Yunchujio quickly took out a basin of water and threw it at it. Who would have thought that it would be better if she didn't throw it, but this small fireball had turned into a big fireball. "Wah wah, it's burning this young master to death. Wah wah, my beautiful feathers are about to be burnt." Xiao Hanyo cried out in pain. "You idiot, roll on the ground. Extinguish the fire." Yunchujio saw that throwing water was useless and was helpless. She could only let Xiao Hanyo roll on the ground. As expected, Xiao Hanyo began to roll on the ground. Those demonic beasts were really unlucky. The fire on Xiao Hanyo's body was very strange. A demonic beast was only touched by a spark and was immediately burned. A moment later, it turned into ashes. Those demonic beasts saw the situation and quickly scattered in all directions, afraid that Xiao Hanyo's fire would touch them. Yunchujio's heart moved. This was a good opportunity to escape. Hence, she instructed Xiao Hanyo to roll outside while she activated the fire-repelling pearl and followed Xiao Hanyo to retreat. Yunchujio could also see that although the Xiao Hanyo was very loud, the fire did not seem to be able to burn it to death. Otherwise, it would not have the time to worry about its feathers. Wherever the Xiao Hanyo went, the trees would be burned into ashes. At this moment, the demonic beasts were certain that the Nirvana Pearl was swallowed by the Xiao Hanyo. Each and every one of them cried out in hatred, but they were afraid of the flames on the Xiao Hanyo's body. They could only maintain a certain distance from the back and follow. As long as the flames on the Xiao Hanyo's body were extinguished, they would swallow the Xiao Hanyo in one gulp. What they were really afraid of came true. The flames on the Xiao Hanyo's body became smaller and smaller, and finally disappeared completely. Yunchujio could not help but curse in her heart. This damned fire appeared when it shouldn't have appeared and disappeared when it shouldn't have. It was really too detestable. What should she do? Those demonic beasts would definitely not let Xiao Hanyo and her go. She wanted to escape, but those demonic beasts were very smart. Not only were there many demonic beasts following behind, there were also some demonic beasts that circled to the front and trapped Yun Chujio in the middle again. Yun Chujio was about to use the sudden rupture talisman to fight to the death when she saw Xiao Hanio's body suddenly grow bigger. Although its body was still covered in black feathers, there was an indescribable brilliance. There was also a kind of nobility that looked down on the world. Xiao Hanio raised its neck and let out a loud cry towards the sky. Clang, 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 the ancient records flashed in Yun Chujio's mind, a phoenix in flight, and clang, clang, clang. Xiao He was really a phoenix. Those demonic beasts and demonic birds immediately felt a huge pressure. Xiao Hanio's noble bloodline had an absolute suppression on them. All the demonic beasts and demonic birds knelt on the ground, trembling as they bowed and submitted. It wasn't only the demonic beasts in the fallen phoenix forest that were like this. At the same time, almost all the demonic beasts in the entire immortal Yuan continent simultaneously knelt and bowed towards the fallen phoenix forest. The ancient divine beasts were the gods of all the demonic beasts in the world. This kind of reverence flowed in their blood. They had no other choice but to kneel and submit. At this moment, Yun Chujio only had 2 words to express her feelings: awesome. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.